to record.
How are you, miss?
I am doing okay. I'm just having a little bit of problem with my headphones set.
Now, the other lady, Jen, right? She sent you the link.
Yeah, I sent her the link. Yep, she's link.
Oh, she sent you the link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then she's gonna send it to all of you ladies, right?
Yep, they should be here anytime.
There's the handsomest man. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Have you met Jennifer? Have you met the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans?
I was gonna ask him if he was known as that because I was gonna
Stunning.
ask. So.
Yeah, I know. You don't even have to know that's his title. As soon as you see him, you say, geez, are you called the world's handsomest man? I mean, my God.
Exactly.
We got another one of the ladies coming in.
I don't know what's wrong with my headphone set.
Here comes Jen.
Well, we can hear you good. Can you hear us? Hello.
Yeah.
Jen and Jim.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Arla.
Look at that. You got your own green screen. You got to put something sexy behind there, like stars or something.
I'm not set up for Zoom yet, I guess.
Oh, you can go to the little up arrow next to your camera there on the bottom left, and then when you go to video settings, and you should wait. Video settings. No, you go to backgrounds and effects. Ta-da!
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God, you're out.
Awesome.
You're right out in the stars now.
May the 4th be with you. I love it.
Well, I think Pappy's coming on, so. But I got to patrol him because I got to monitor his mute button his mute button because he's got all those helpers coming in and they don't understand this is an important show, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
This is the most important show we've had all day, except for Brian.
Yeah,
can you hear me okay or no?
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is my second show of the day.
It's working.
Whoa, you're a busy guy.
Well, I was
you
interviewed
got
on
like 150 views already, and
I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's doing better than we are. He's doing better than we are. So maybe you'll get some more views for the pork and beans.
Well, I mentioned us.
Pork and beans. We like to feed everybody.
We're gonna have a full house tonight. We got another admin coming in.
Yeah.
Hey,
and I'm going to be here about an hour because I've got people coming in for gathering this weekend. I've already got 3 in, but I think they're in the other room watching.
Tell them to buzz off. Tell them to buzz off, Ma.
Oh, there is Rigatoni.
Oh, tell him to meditate and raise the vibration.
He's all like frozen up, Mr. Rigatoni. I better rename him. I better rename myself.
Don't rename me because I want everybody to know who I am.
Yeah, you're not in the spirit of the show. I understand.
I'm AKA Mr. Beans.
I'm not going to be calling anybody by food names. I've set a trend on a different show. So
see what you did, Jenna.
Shout out to Noodle.
There's something messy about it. Maybe a little greasy. I don't know.
You must have watched the show if you have that kind of information. We all are. Yeah, here's
food names.
We're all food names.
Oh no.
So we're pretty plain food names. We're not, like
we don't really have that vegetarian meat eater kind of bipolar, right?
Yeah.
and then we call each other broccoli spears or something.
You guys are entertaining. I love this. Usually,
you guys know. Do you guys know? Have any idea what Miss Thing's name is?
Miss Thing.
Miss Thing.
I actually like that, but it's not a food. So
Miss Miss Sweet Thing could be
Yeah.
some chocolate or
that-
Sweet thing.
Sweet
Well,
thing.
Favorite donut.
We call it
in the
peach
can,
cobbler.
Peach
pork
cobbler.
and beans
I
in the
had-
pan. Pork and beans, man, we love pork and
And
beans.
beans. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I've heard pork and beans, pork and beans. Where have I heard pork and beans like that?
On our
Or
show,
was it on
maybe?
the show? I was gonna say, or was it on your show? Pork and beans, pork and beans. I just remember. from
Should I
somewhere.
call, should I call Pappy? Should we give him a food name?
I always called him Tater, remember?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you
Tater.
got Thom
Pappy-
Cantrall too. What this is like a full house.
Pappy
His
Tater.
name's Tater Tom.
Tater Tom!
We use
I'm
tater
doing
in
it.
some sentences too.
Hi, Tammy.
Hey,
They're
Hey,
nuts
they
on
sure-
here. You just kind of have to look over the
We
guys.
got the
They're
famous Tom Entrails.
Tater Tom, there we go.
You should call him Tom
love it.
Entrails.
that's
Hey,
what
Tater
I've
Tom.
always called him.
Hey, I
Tom
didn't know you were
Chitlins.
Tater Tom, Tom.
hey, Tom.
Hey. How's everybody?
Where's Tom? There. What?
Yeah.
Mike Rigatoni.
Yeah, where did Rigatoni go?
There he is.
I
It's
had
a
to fix
party.
my name. Word sound.
Ah,
What? You don't like the big pasta?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know you did that. It said
there
LIP.
he is.
What do you want to be called tonight? Big pasta or Rigatoni, Mike Rigatoni?
Oh, you be the judge. I don't care.
Oh,
Got
that's
a whole meal
bad
going on
choice.
here.
That's a bad choice.
Well, they call him Big Pasta for a reason.
Oh yeah, because my big stomach. It's
Well, I was like, we'll stick with Rigatoni. Then.
I'll never remember your food name. Sorry, guys.
Whatever. Whatever.
Oh,
you-
Jenna,
you-
you're the one who
you-
named Noodle.
No.
You-
No.
you
I
won't-
only
won't-
remember the food name.
You won't be able to forget it after tonight. I guarantee you.
Oh my goodness, poor Noodle. Shout out to Noodle again.
How
I
much?
love you.
How much did Brian pay you girls to come on? Is this,
Hey.
is this a charity thing?
I
A charity
told him, I
event?
said,
Is it charity?
you know what I did? I said, do you ladies want to be on the show with the world's handsomest man? And they were begging to come on.
Please, we yelled, please. We did.
I was
Yeah.
promised Bigfoot. Where is he?
Oh, I guess I'll start the
That
show.
would
I
be
guess I'll
Tater
start the show.
Tom.
Yep, that's Tater Tom.
Tater
Hey,
Tom. Love it.
What do you guys
Hey,
think of? What do you guys think of Mike's video? Should we show that? Have you seen
That
that?
was awesome. Oh my god.
You guys want to see a nice video too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me
It
get my
was.
glasses.
It's your show, but we're
Awesome.
also feeding off each other, right? So
What video?
Let's
Yeah.
do
he's
it.
got a video. Well, you'll see it.
We're also
Awesome.
feeding off each other. He says.
You did.
We got the pork and the
We
rigatoni.
take our Sasquatching serious.
Yeah.
Well,
Serious.
Mike Rigatoni and I are both Italian stallions. In case you girls are
Oh
wanted to know
Lord.
that.
I've been to Italy.
I'm not.
Yeah. I think I've been to
I'll
Italy
leave it at
too.
that.
I'm still a black
Two
stallion.
places
He's
in
the
Italy.
silver fox.
No, he's a white-haired boy. No, you did good today, Mike. That was awesome.
It actually was yesterday, like right around
Well, I
twilight.
figured it
but I
was yesterday,
Yeah,
but
it took me a while to. When I come across them like that, especially something rare like a white one, I don't want to like give time for them to get out of the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. There was a white one here. Actually, the photo I've got of the one cloaking is what I called him the old white one. And he's been seen in multiple places here in Oklahoma. So he had a very distinct look. He's
All
not here now, but that you did good.
You
really
watched
did.
you watched the long version, right?
Well, I was working on stuff, so I was back and forth. But I guess it was where
Yeah.
you were cool with what you were doing. That's what
I did
that's
my
what
best.
was cool. You were cool, not just the video. So
Well, thank you.
Could we see the video?
Yeah, we're gonna see it. Don't let it go to your head there, Mr. Rigatoni.
You don't have that video. Where's the video? You don't have the video?
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it. We're gonna see it.
We are live.
Hey everybody, my name is Port Cunningham, and I'm here with my distinguished co-host, the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans. This is the Pork and Bean Show. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Thank you. And we're here with Constant. That sounds like it's a pest, so I shouldn't say constant. Frequent co-host, Peach Cobbler, otherwise known as Arla Collett. We got Cater Tom, otherwise known as Thom Cantrall, and I'll be watching you, muting you if those ladies come in there. You know that.
Go.
So you gotta.
That happens in my room often.
Yeah. And the Italian stallion, Michael Rigatoni.
Rigatoni.
Reggaeton.
Rigatoni.
Rigatoni.
And we are joined today by the She Squatchers, Jennifer Grover, Jen Cruz, and Tammy Trickle. Did I say that right?
You did.
Yeah.
Not very many people do.
Really? What do they normally say?
Hey, you.
Trichel?
First name Tammy.
Well, Tammy's pretty easy.
I go to the doctors and like, first name Tammy. I'm like, you must be me.
So how are you ladies this evening?
I'm great.
Fabulous.
Very good.
Fabulous.
It was a beautiful day today. In fact, Jen and I were out in the sun today. She stopped by and we got to get some sun. It was wonderful. It wasn't
Awesome.
snowing.
Got a little burnt.
Are
but
you
that's
ladies
not too bad.
are you ladies campers? You actually get out in the
Yeah,
in the where the Sasquatch live and stuff? You do?
we try to. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Do you wear makeup when you go out?
Yeah.
And high heels.
They do.
No. I don't wear
like
high heels.
wearing-
I'm too tall the way it is.
I
Imagine
like
that,
wearing
ca-
mascara.
Imagine camping in high heels and like
No.
and that kind of stuff. You girls don't do that, right?
They glam.
No.
They glamping.
I don't wear high heels on a good day. I'm not wearing high heels when I'm camping.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That explains
Imagine
it.
Sasquatch trying to squeeze into a high heel.
I've never.
Pretty sure we have that image.
do. And she even has a nice extra little bit of a rear end because of those high heels. Thank you, Jen. Jen created that image.
Hey, so
Maybe
did you?
Maybe I should get us that, huh?
Yeah. See, all you need is our pictures.
You know, I was very dismayed to learn that my playoff game is on right now. This is a really bad date, but I turned it off after the first period. I'm recording it, so
There you go.
I'll tune into the rest later.
Just stay off of social media until after you've watched it.
Oh, yeah. No
Well, yeah,
doubt.
I'm not, that way it's all new to me, right?
Right, right.
Anyway, so what do you want to start with? Should we start with Mr. Rigatoni's video because it's quite outstanding?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll get into some stuff with the ladies. But I do want to ask. Well, we'll watch this video first. Let me just find it. So you guys talk amongst yourselves while I. But,
Let me
Mr.
tell you.
Beans?
Sign language.
Let me tell you how I met these ladies the first time. It was at Ocean Shores at the Sasquatch Summit. And Johnny had a good, decent lineup of speakers. One of them was this fellow we all know here that's in the blue shirt. But there was, he had a good lineup of speakers, and these three ladies were part of that lineup. At the end of the day, when they got done, everybody who had come up and spoken that day talked about their organization, how it was arranged, who they went out with, and nothing about Sasquatch. And these three ladies came up and they talked about the research they were doing. They talked about finding these clues and following them and actually getting down and dirty deep in the woods Sasquatchy. And I said, I've got to know those people. And I got a chance to meet them. And I have never been sorry for that. These are special people. So pay attention to them when they speak.
Which is the exact opposite that you thought when you met me.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that video up. So I don't know how the sound will sound, but we can try it with sound. But generally, doesn't sound that good.
You should turn
On
the
here?
original sound for musicians on instead of off. It's upper left-hand corner by where it says live. Turn it to on.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's try it with the sound because you're kind of cute when you're talking there, Mr. Rigatoni.
Oh God.
That's kind of how I talk to them too. Me
This is
and
the
Mom.
short version, so I made it
Yeah,
as
well-
short as possible.
Okay, you guys ready? Can you see it?
Yep.
Tell me how the sound sounds. If it doesn't sound good, I can turn it off. It's the picture.
Can I see
The,
what?
Well, you'll see.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute.
I don't hear anything.
I
Nope,
don't need.
either.
Let's try it again.
I see trees.
Oh, this video was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh. And you were so cool, Mike.
No, I wasn't. I really wasn't.
I know, I can tell you were buzzing,
Oh, beautiful.
but
There it is, right there.
Mhm. Where is this, Mike? Where are you located?
This is Suffolk County, Long Island. So I'm in the North
Oh.
Shore. I call it like bamboo
Mhm.
forest.
Long Island, huh?
Long
So we-
Island.
Was
So-
that me or did I just see that blink?
Yeah.
They blink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blinks.
Yeah.
It's blinking, yeah.
Okay.
you see it
Okay.
blink.
Question. Is it an owl? I mean, do owls?
Mm-mm.
No,
No, it's
Okay.
like it looks so small.
Is it
on
blinking this
screen.
way too? Like an inner eyelid? It almost looked like it
That's
did.
what it.
That's what I'm thinking. It looks like it's like flipping, like hologram or something. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though.
Like it's
a
not-
dark. It's a dark eye, but it had like coloration, like vibrating in it.
Okay, let's watch it one more time. But I wanted to ask you, Mike. So what else did you see other than what you got on video? You saw how tall it was and whatever, right? How tall was it?
Yeah. Oh well, it was probably about. I'd have to go and measure the trees, but I guesstimate between 6 and 8. Probably closer to 8.
Okay.
It's hard. It's like a hilly area, so it could have been give or take. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
I really wish I had my
You gotta
glasses
push the
right
button
now.
there, Brian.
I know. I know. I'm just asking the question before I prep it again. So, did you see any more than what we're seeing in the video that you definitely know it was a Sasquatch?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it to me that's what it is. Yeah. I mean, I didn't get any confirmation from the Sasquatch people, but I plan on doing a little bit of work. But I spent all day yesterday shocked to the point where I slept in. Like I don't think I sleep past sunrise ever, and I slept till like 11 today. I was just-
Okay,
My
should we
mom-
watch it? Should we watch it again? How's the sound in it? Is it okay?
no
No, we
sound.
can't hear.
I didn't hear anything.
I know because I haven't started it yet. But was it okay last time?
Didn't
No,
hear
I
it.
couldn't hear
What?
anything.
Couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear it. Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
Oh, his voice though was epic when he was viewing this. Him talking, and that was epic.
It's on my channel if you want to see.
What is your channel?
Long Island Bigfoot.
Why does his face look all white?
Because he's a white guy.
He was right. That's what shocked the hell out of me. I was looking for dark colors. That's why this thing threw me all the way off.
Look at that nose.
Yep. Yeah. Watching it and hearing Mike talk, it was just like this is way cool.
This is way cool.
This is
And
a very
knowing
It's a
and the
very short
height.
version. Like if you watch the premiere I did, like the 30 minutes of like as I'm walking in and like da da da, you know what I mean, going through all the motions, and then I'm just kind of like relaxed coming down the hill, and then this thing like.
And how tall did you say it was?
I'd guesstimate around 7. You know, average. I don't. It's hard to say with the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And then the bushes and stuff. I really wasn't. I wasn't too focused on the trees. Like that thing had my full attention.
Yeah, at that time, trees are of minor importance,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Oh yeah, and you will hear that he is so totally connecting with this when he's talking to.
Yeah.
But you can hear in his voice that he's as shocked as anybody would be.
My recommendation at this point would be to go back and document that, though. And
Yeah, well, you can see in the longer version too, it disappears. Like
It's not there.
He walks away,
Yeah.
or whatever he did, but he left.
Yeah,
Or
That's
she.
an amazing
Some people-
video.
It could be a she.
That
I
is.
don't. I'm not trying to be a sexist. It could be a she. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was. I didn't see any parts.
in the generic, yes.
Can we talk about the blinking and that unusual blinking? Has anyone seen something like that before?
I've seen blinking, but that's a little different than what I'm
Yeah.
used to.
So somebody told me today. I don't know if I should mention his name, but he was saying that he's seen something like that too, similar, where like it looks like a crystal or a marble with like pulsing lights behind it, or like. So
Sure.
it was kind of comforting to hear that somebody else has seen something similar.
But it's a female, and she wants to see which color eyes you like best.
I think she's wearing. I think it's a female too because she's wearing mascara.
Yeah.
Is that it?
The confirmation
That's what
that
it
it's
is.
okay to wear makeup out there.
Maybe high heels. Maybe she's wearing high heels.
You see how
All
it
right.
all connects? See
That
that?
was kind of an unnatural white. I mean,
I know.
was it clay all over the face, or because albino would have been kind of a pink, right?
That's
It would've
not
had pink eyes.
unnatural at
So-
all.
Yeah, no,
That's-
there's a piebald. There's
Yeah.
a piebald deer there too, which is this is the first place I've ever seen a piebald deer, and like she's a baby too, so like I'm like always looking for her. Always looking. I call it pie baby. Like I get all excited when I see her, and like so anyway, I don't want to take away from these girls, but
Can I?
No, well,
add-
let's
my
talk
screen is
about it for a few
frozen,
minutes.
And I can't. My screen is frozen. I can't get it to right itself. Can I leave and come right back?
You're
Yeah,
not
we can
frozen
see.
to us.
We can,
Looks
we
like
can
it's
see
okay
it.
now.
Everything's frozen to me. I'm gonna leave and come right back.
Okay.
don't feel bad. It happened to me too.
Did you guys want to talk about that video for a
happens
few
to
minutes?
all of us.
before we
Definitely.
get-
I think we should talk about that video. That was a really interesting video. And I'm sorry I yelled out there that is that a bow or an owl? But I was thinking that maybe it
No,
was an
it's
owl. I'm
okay.
not wearing my readers, so I'm like I'm
Well,
trying to see.
the way that the eyes were blinking looked like
Yes.
an owl.
Okay,
But
thank
those don't look like owl eyes.
No.
No, you're right.
They're
But that's
different.
just the
Eyes
way
are
that it was
shaped.
blinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
but
yeah,
To,
definitely.
but to see that, to capture it, that is
Yeah.
a really good video.
It had kind of like a European nose too.
Yes, it did. Very much so. The nose was something that caught my attention immediately after the eyes. The shape of the nose is very definitely a humanoid face.
Yeah.
It's not the pointy nose of a bear,
Yeah.
or any other type of that type of animal, cat or anything. It
So are
is
we
very
sure it's a
definitely.
Sasquatch? Like, what if it was like some other humanoid?
I mean, how
That's
short?
what I
how
There
was-
you
short-
go. Could be.
Unless I
What do you-
get confirmation from the Sasquatch directly, I'll never say I'm sure of anything.
That's right.
No,
Yeah, for all we know, it could be like an alien visitor walking around the
Yeah,
world.
because there is video of
And-
white humanoid creatures with black eyes all,
Yeah.
all over the internet. So to
When I
me,
first-
I'm like,
Yeah, when I
That
first saw it,
blinking,
my
that
first-
sideways blinking got me. I was like, I haven't heard anybody talking about that before.
we
It
were
was a
talking
good
about,
observation.
my first impression was it looked like a gray when I first initially saw it.
Well, it was huge.
It's not a gray or they're tall
Uh-uh.
whites. That's not what they
Nope.
look like. But this
It-
thing had a pretty fat face.
Yeah, its head
And,
was the size of my torso. Like it was big.
Oh wow.
It was big.
What do you
Like,
think, Miss Cobbler?
I've seen there's a white one here for a long time, and the cloaking picture that I have is of the one I call the old white one, and he was literally white like that. It wasn't
Okay.
gray, it wasn't tinted off. It was white. Now, you know, I wouldn't say 100% that that's what this was, but that's what it feels like. You know, I haven't asked or anything else, you know, what was that? But when I watched your video, Mike, it was female to me. It was
Yeah.
just, that's a female.
Well, like every time I say he, it makes like I keep getting this inkling to say like or she, or she, or she. You know what I mean? I naturally he comes out of my mouth. I don't know
Yeah.
why. But
Well,
I
it just does. It just
yeah,
does.
yeah. I get behind that.
But you know, it's really rare to get good photos of a female.
Yeah.
You know,
But
there's a lot of male photos out there that I've seen that are very good.
back 4 or 5 years back, I had this close encounter with a female, and it was videoing her, and the camera was bad. And like I was, you know, it was a bad camera phone. And so this new phone I got is like top of the line. It's way out of my price range. But I went in, I said, I don't care what phone it is. I need the one with the best camera. You know what I mean? Like I do, this is what I do all day. I walk, I hike, and I video the whole thing straight through. You know, like, so that's kind of the only upside I have. Like the only advantage I have is I'm always filming. Like, it's not like, oh, I got to get my camera out. Like it's already up and
Yeah.
going. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Well, that was great. I'm so glad we got to see that. And I'm going to put my readers in. I'm going to go out on your site and I'm going to rewatch it.
I already sent you the
So
link.
I think it's on the Pork and
Thank
Bean
you.
Show group too.
Oh, awesome.
Anyway, any way you look at it, that's historic. It's a historic first time ever on the history of Earth. You know, that's like a big deal. Well, even if it was an alien hybrid or Sasquatch, like you say, I kind of lean towards alien hybrid because the nose was so small and thin, like an alien nose.
I can't. There's a guy named Swan Lake Bigfoot. His name's Robert, and he got a white one recently too. I don't know if I know I saw the still frame, but I don't know if I saw his video. But he is it's a good still frame for sure. So
What do you
I'm
think?
sure the video might be better.
What do you think, Pappy?
Well, I've seen white one, and I can't remember where, other than Ari, which we know about, of course, but somewhere I did. And that looks all for the world like what I saw, except for the blinking. The eyes is kind of unique with this one.
Yeah.
That doesn't rule out anything, just a behavior I had not seen before. But yeah, this is a fantastic piece of video.
Absolutely, man. That's pretty exciting for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm just the guy with the camera. They're the beauty and the wonder. You know what I mean?
I understand totally.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast.
You said it though. You said it. They are the beauty and the wonder, and they are everything in nature. And that's what I see they as being. I mean, from the flowers to the animals, these are such beautiful, beautiful things. And I wish people got to experience them more and be out there more. And I really hope if you do go out there, get out there, do something, go for a walk, have fun, but just get to nature, please. It recharges you. It really does.
And if
Jenna's
you
call to action.
Call to action.
Get out
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Get out there, God darn it.
and if you don't believe it, just say I don't believe that and walk on. You don't have to make death threats against people that did it. Got another one today.
For you?
Yeah. You know,
Oh my
Wrong with
Lord.
people.
and you know, it's just they're idiotic. You know.
You got a death threat?
Oh yeah, I get them all the
That
time.
makes
Oh,
you
yeah.
famous.
Don't worry. That means you're doing something.
We don't need to hear the name necessarily, but what do they say?
But just that publishing this type of I'll say it, anti-religious material is going to bring down the wrath of the devil on you, and I'm going to bring it.
I was reading that on
so
someone's
there-
page today.
that person
some
is a
stuff like
god?
that.
they're
Yeah.
a god, they're an angel or something. There's something in some
They,
position of power
they
within
think
religion that
they
they can
are.
bring that wrath out on you.
So
Evidently.
this was a hit. It's going to get a hit, right? Going to get the
Yeah.
devil to come kill you. That's pretty
Well,
cool.
it's got that kind of
How much that
connection.
cost?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Who was
Your
going to do it, the
soul.
person or
Well,
the
Your
Bigfoot?
soul.
I ordered a new T-shirt just yesterday. It says, "You all know that I used to be a logger, own a logging company." The shirt says, "On the 8th day, God created loggers, and the devil's been nervous ever since."
Ah, brunch. Aw.
That's awesome. Okay, so you know what? This is actually the She Squatchers show. So why don't we
Get to
why don't we
them?
talk about why don't we talk about how you guys met and how you got your show going and just kind of your initial experiences with the phenomenon, the enigma called Sasquatch. So how
Well,
did
talk
that
about
all
what's
happen?
most important to you right now. That's good too.
Hey, don't confuse them. I already get.
I'm trying to unconfuse them.
Well, I'm so not going first now. Jen, go ahead.
All right. So I had been doing paranormal radio for quite a few years, and I ended up at a Paracon in Minnesota where Lauren Coleman was there. And we all know Lauren is the cryptozoologist who has the International Cryptozoology Museum in Maine. And I asked him if I could have an interview. And so we sat down for about an hour together, and he told me all about Bigfoot in my home state of Minnesota. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had never even thought about Bigfoot before long enough to even consider if it was real or not. I guess I just quickly assumed, like most people did, that it wasn't a real thing. But as I was interviewing Lauren, he was making some pretty interesting points, and he assured me that there actually was Bigfoot in my home state of Minnesota. I'm like, I grew up in the woods. I was in the woods all the time. I didn't see any Bigfoot in there, but he assured me that they were in there. And actually, it's kind of fun. I'll just fast forward real quick. Tammy and I had gone in my woods, my home woods, and I do think that they are back there. And then after that, I got a report from somebody who lived like a half a mile from there on the same creek and in the same woods. And he said that he saw one walking behind one of his outbuildings back to the creek. And so they were back there. Anyway, so Lauren encouraged me, and he had wished that women would go into the woods without men, dogs, or guns, just a group of women. And he felt that the Bigfoot that people were seeing near roadways and whatnot were likely the younger male Bigfoots that were out doing stuff they probably weren't supposed to be doing. And so he thought these younger males would be a little bit more inclined to come closer and check out some ladies out there if they didn't have anything threatening like men, dogs, or guns along. So that was what he thought the recipe for success in getting closer to Bigfoot would be. And I jokingly volunteered during the show, but by the end of the show, I actually said, all right, I'm going to give this a try. I will go out and try it. I felt double dog dared in a way to go and check it out. So, I'm not a closed mind person. I'm very open minded. And when I realized, I prejudged this and I can't be like that. I'm open minded. I need to go check it out and see if there is something to this. So I asked a few ladies who were at the Paracon because they were paranormal investigators. I figured they had night vision cameras that could see in the dark, and we'd probably need to be able to do that. So we set up a date and we went out, and we had chosen a spot that there had been a recent sighting. And on top of Lauren's idea of women in the woods without men, dogs, or guns, I'm a psychic medium and I'm also an energy worker. So I feel energy on a physical level. It vibrates. It's not just a good feeling inside, the good vibes, it's literally a vibration that I'm sensing, and every frequency has different vibrations. So I thought, we could probably use some of that to our advantage. Looking for Bigfoot as well. I'd use some of my techniques in geographic remote viewing to help locate missing people in the past. I've been doing it to help paranormal investigation groups, identifying what has happened in different locations. So I thought, this is something we could probably also apply, give us a little advantage. My goal, my strategy, because I wasn't in super good shape at the time, was to remote view with Google Maps and see if we could find where Bigfoot was before we got there. and then drop a GPS coordinate on it and go there. And if we could find these locations that were pretty close to a drivable road, we could just jump out and get to it really quick. So these were some of my ideas. The very first try, I had these other ladies with me, not Jenna, not Tammy, because these other ladies, for the most part, got super scared. They didn't want to do it again. We had driven down this road called Reservation Highway 20, and it's not a highway by any means. It's a gravel road wide enough for just one car, not two cars, one car, and it's surrounded by forest. And on one, it's a really long lake. It's called 6 Mile Lake, and on one side there's nothing but dense trees and this little road, and that road goes all the way around the lake. On the other side, there's cabins and docks, but there's absolutely nothing on this side. And so we're stopping and we're looking at areas, and I felt like an interesting vibration at this spot. And I was asking to feel the energy of Bigfoot, and I felt this interesting vibration. And we got out and we looked around. I couldn't see anything that led us to think that there might be Bigfoot here, other than this vibration I was sensing. And so I dropped a GPS coordinate, recorded it, and off we went. And I said, I'd like to return here when it gets dark. And so we did. It got dark. We went back out there, parked the car, middle of the road, because there's nowhere else to put it, and just got out. And it was so dark that I couldn't see anything. And one of the girls had borrowed a thermal camera from somebody that she knew. She didn't even really know how to use it. It was a really cheap one that you point and pull a trigger and it'll take a picture. And it didn't even have an SD card in it. I guess we didn't know that, but she handed it to me, and I got out of the car. Everybody else went to the back hatch to get to their equipment, and I already had mine. And so I was really excited with this thermal, playing with it for the first time, having such a thing in my hand. So I'm scanning the woods, hoping to see a rabbit, a bunny, anything, a fox, something, a deer, just a thermal showing up on there. I was excited to see it. And I scanned the whole woods, and I'm standing up at the front of the car, and I get out where I'm pointing out in front of the car, and then on the left side of the road, I saw the thermal image of somebody standing there, just outside of the trees. And it's a thermal camera, so they're showing up as red and yellow. And I said, "Oh, who's in front of the car?" I just thought it was one of the ladies who walked up there. "Who's out in front of the car?" And nobody answered me. I'm like, "Hey, who's out in front of the car?" Nobody answered me. And I kept saying that until Marlo heard me and realized I was feeling kind of nervous in my voice. And so she comes running up to see what's going on, and she looks at the screen I'm looking at, and she sees the thermal that I'm seeing, and she looks up at it and she goes, "Oh, I just saw eyes." And I said, "You did?" And I dropped the camera and I looked directly at it, and I didn't see any eyes. And then when I picked the camera back up, it was gone. It had disappeared into the trees. And so what was interesting about that is, again, this was my first try playing with a thermal. And I didn't realize at that time that when you look at people wearing clothing, they look different, that their thermal imagery comes through different where they have clothing on. And so it wasn't that day or the next day or even next week. It wasn't until Jenna got a thermal camera and we played with it that I was like, wait a minute. What I saw that night wasn't wearing clothes.
And it
very
was
different.
She was like so shocked. I still remember when you did that, Jen, and you were just like, "Oh my gosh." It was such a realization.
Yeah. So back to that night. So when it disappeared, we decided we're going to walk into the woods that way. So three of us started to walk into the woods that way. We didn't get very far. I mean, just really literally a few steps, and we heard something coming through the trees towards us. And then something fell on the ground and just bounced about 3 feet in front of us. And I looked at it, and I was just flabbergasted. I didn't know much about Bigfoot at that time. And I'm looking at this on the ground, and I'm like, is that a rock? And Marlo says, yeah, I think that is a rock. And then we hear the movement again coming. Another rock bounced really close next to that one. And then another one came. And you could literally hear, it sounded like they were being lobbed through the trees. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I didn't know. that at that time, I didn't know that Bigfoot were known for throwing rocks at people. I didn't even know that. So I was just like, there's nothing out here. We're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows that we're here. Who's throwing rocks at us? And, and so then I just like thought, well, what does it mean? And I felt it didn't want us to walk that way. So I said, let's back up. So we backed back up to the road and we're standing there trying to figure out what to do next. And one of the girls says, hey, Jen, maybe we should do a Bigfoot call like they do on TV. I said, okay, go ahead. And so she let out a whoop and we all had our cameras. We're ready to see something. We're listening very quietly to hear if there's any response. And instead of hearing any whoops back, all of a sudden on the right side of the road, not the side where the thermal and the rocks were coming from, but on the other side of the road from us, we start hearing something walking towards us. It's very loud, you can hear the 2 footsteps, a very big something's crunching, cracking sticks as it's walking. And we all point our cameras that way towards this sound. Nobody can see anything. Those cameras that all those girls had for paranormal investigating, those night vision cameras did not light up the woods like they do haunted houses. Well, that was a learning experience right there. So we're all not seeing anything. We can't see what's coming. And all of a sudden, it was like somebody snapped their fingers and that sound of something walking towards us multiplied. And now there is something coming at us from multiple directions. And we circled up back to back facing out. And that was just an automatic thing we did. We didn't have a plan. It just happened. And we're all just straining to see what's coming and nobody can see anything. And, the girls were really scared. And I'm like, stop being scared. I can't sense much when you're so scared, And so one of them yelled out, Jen, do your tobacco thing. And what she meant was, I'm part Native American, and we were on an Ojibwe reservation, the one over from my home reservation. And what she meant was to take tobacco and do a traditional prayer. And so I had tobacco in my pocket. I took it out and I started to speak out loud in Ojibwe. I did a very formal protocol greeting introduction where I used all of my spirit names and my Wa'a's name, and and I started naming off my relatives and my clan and where I come from. And then I said Miigwech Memegeshig, which is thank you to the little people. And then I said Miigwech Kichisabe, which is thank you to Bigfoot. And as soon as I said thank you to Bigfoot, it stopped. All the noise stopped. It didn't retreat. It just stopped. Everything just went silent. And I was like, yes. Because when I had talked to the elders from my reservation and asked them about the Bigfoot, they told me that in prayer, you could reach out and ask them for help and that they would help you. And I was like, okay, well, they stopped. They recognized that we were in distress and they stopped. And to me, that was confirmation of what my elders had told me. And so I was really excited. However, the other ladies who were there didn't understand a word of Ojibwe. And so they didn't know that it stopped at the moment I said thank you to Bigfoot. And so they're just like, let's go. They jumped in the car. They were ready to go. They didn't want to do this anymore. And actually, one of them said, crucifixes flying off the wall in a haunted house is a whole lot less scary than this.
Oh God, I don't know about that.
So, well, I don't know about that either. I was excited. I wanted to do more, and it was hard for me because the ladies were so scared. And so anyway, soon after that, I asked Jenna if she would like to. I told her what happened. She was mad at me.
Oh my gosh, I could not believe she did not tell me she was going out. I was like, as she was telling me the story of what happened, she was like so timid and shy. Like I was just, going to think horrible things about her because she was going to be looking for Bigfoot. But I was so excited at the time. I had gone through an NDE, and after that, I was all about living my life and being, wanting that camaraderie. I wanted the team spirit, and I wanted to get out there and find out what was out there. But like Jen, I really never gave a second thought to Bigfoot. I mean, you hear things, but I had no real want to go find Bigfoot until she mentioned her team. And I thought, gall darn it, we could be part of something huge. There could be something here. But I was the biggest skeptic for the longest time. Believe you me, I was the biggest skeptic. They used to say, we're finding things. Why are you being such a skeptic? And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yes, it was interesting though. And so Jenna was on board right away. And then Tammy, I asked Tammy too. And these are my two besties, my two best friends, but they did not know each other. It was weird. And and so I asked Tammy, and it didn't work out for her to join us right away, but as soon as she was able, she did. And so then we made the trifecta. The perfect triangle. And we have a good connection between us three. I call us soul sisters because we're so connected that way. And I think we do better when we're together. I'm sorry.
There's like a short on your channel of you guys like in a hotel or something in your sweatshirts, like your She Squatchers, and you're like, like,
Oh,
throw your hands in the air. And like one of you was filming the other two, and I'm like, this just says it all.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes,
I remember that.
Star Casino.
Bring that energy anywhere, and like it's gonna be like you're gonna draw on something.
Oh, well, thanks. That must mean it's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
us
for
in the
sure.
woods too, by the way. We're
Oh,
not
yeah.
quiet.
We're not quiet. We don't try to be quiet. We don't have to
No.
be quiet.
They know
No.
we're there.
We are
well,
what we
you
are.
You get the people who think they can sneak around in a ghillie suit, and I don't know.
To each their own, though. They may be looking at something that we're not seeing. They may be seeing something sneaking around in that ghillie suit that we're not seeing when we're out being loud too. So I definitely don't want to diss anybody in their ways of doing anything. But I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Us and our fabulousness, just bring all the Bigfoot to the yard. That's all I'll say. I'm kidding.
We're just being interesting.
We're just being interesting.
Maybe they'll come check it out. Like, what are these people doing?
Yes.
So do you think there is something to the ladies going out?
I do. We actually were able to get a thermal video of a Bigfoot, and literally we were about 30 feet away. We had been in Tennessee speaking at an event there, and they had wanted the Bigfoot researchers to take out a group of people into the mountains to a hotspot. So a local person there said that he would take us to his hotspot. So they were going to take these people out, and I had bronchitis. They were going to be hiking up a mountain, and I was like, yeah, that's probably not a good plan. I can barely breathe right now. And so Jenna and Tammy went, and I stayed behind. And I said, hey, girls, send me the GPS coordinates when you get there, and I'll remote view it while you're there. And so they did that. And so while they were looking for Bigfoot up on the mountain, I was looking for Bigfoot on Google Earth. And I started marking GPS coordinates. And so when they were done, they couldn't keep anyone there after dark for liability reasons. And I guess they easily could walk off the side of the mountain. But so we all got together for dinner. It was Jenna, Tammy, and myself, along with Matthew Dell from Micro. And we had dinner, and I was showing them the Bigfoots that I had seen, the areas where I had seen Bigfoot on the remote view. And what our protocol is for that is if I see something there, I drop a GPS coordinate next to it, and I send it to the ladies and have them look. If they're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, that's good. And sometimes it's so specific. Like there was even one time where I was seeing a Bigfoot with a mountain lion. I dropped a GPS coordinate and sent it to Tammy because it was a place her and I were going to be going. And she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't see a Bigfoot with a mountain lion. I'm like, that's what I saw. Let's go. But we didn't actually go into that woods because I have a healthy fear of mountain lions.
So how many did you actually see when you were remote viewing them that time?
Which time? Went on the mountain?
Yeah.
In Tennessee.
Oh, there was there was more than 3, but the one when we got up there, we drove up to the one spot where there was one nearby a road. And so we got up there and we parked right there. And then I pulled out my phone and I had service still. So I looked at the map again and I asked, is there any Bigfoot here right now? And I started to see one. And I was like, okay. And I used the little measuring thing on there. And I'm like, it's about 30 feet that way. it's 30 feet that way. And it was so dark you couldn't see. But Tammy grabbed Jenna's FLIR and she didn't really know how to use it, but she knew how to turn it on. And so she's looking at it, she's like, it's right there, it's right there. Tammy.
Okay, so I'm looking at it, and as I'm looking at in the FLIR at this, it's got its arms up in the air like this behind his head. You can see all this hair hanging off. And it was in black hot, so hair looks white. Warm stuff like your skin looks black, and it's long white hair hanging off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this! I gotta record this. And so I'm flicking through the buttons and trying to get it to record. And I'm flipping through all the different, colors and stuff and settings. I'm like, that's not working. I'm like, guys, how do I get this thing to record? It's the very first time I use it. Probably not the best time to do it for the first time, but I'm flipping through it, and he's just relaxed. He's leaning back and he's rubbing his arm and just kind of looking around. I am not being quiet. And I'm like, hey, how do I get this to record? How do I get this to record? And finally, Jenna came over and she hit the record button for me. We got 13 minutes of footage on the FLIR on top of this mountain in Tennessee. I think we only posted like 6 because Jen didn't like herself with black hot.
We were passing the camera to each other to look and see it for ourselves. But then I was like, well, let's compare that to you and to you. And then when they looked at me, I was like, oh gosh, no, cut that.
But yeah, we actually stopped recording before it ever went away. Mm-hmm. We were the ones who stopped recording. It never entered any of our minds to get any closer, but it didn't go away. It didn't run away from us. So it wasn't just a blob squatch. So yeah, we got 13 minutes of footage, and we had somebody stabilize it and have some different filters so you can get different looks at it and make it look better. And it's on our channel.
Don't forget to say Matthew went back the next day because we thought it was sitting.
I thought it was sitting with its back up against the tree, and it looked like it was working with something in its hands because something in its hands was black, so it was warm. And I didn't know if it was like skinning an animal or what, None of this enters your head when you're looking at it. You don't know what you're going to do. But I was just sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, oh, is working with his hands or is sitting back here? I'm not sure what. And then Matthew Delph went back the next day to look at it, and he said there was actually a ledge there, and he thinks that he was using that as a table to skin the animal. But there was nothing there. There was no blood. There was no carcass. There was nothing there the next day. So
yeah. I'm friends with Mark Dabb.
Maybe he was whittling.
But it was warm. Whatever he had was warm.
Yeah, it was really interesting. You should check it out.
I did send him a link to the video.
Did you?
Cool.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
I've got that video. Should we watch it?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me grab it.
You guys are just fabulous. It's like right out the gate, you guys are just amazing, mind-blowing stuff. The near-death experience, and then you're doing the remote viewing. I always thought if you're good at remote viewing, that you could use dowsing rods, so you could just do like a 180 walk around with a dowsing rod. Say go in this direction.
My set is over there.
I've done that. I found well water for people before. I have.
Yeah, but you can use dowsing rods for anything, for Sasquatch.
Yeah. Jenna brought dowsing rods out one time.
I used dowsing rods for bird feathers one time.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, it's exciting, and the different things that we're going to be able to bring out there eventually. There's so much that we can just get out there to connect with.
So when it was stabilized, you can see what's showing up as white, and you can see it's like doing something with its arms. It's working with something dark on the ground.
Look how big it is.
What's that?
So look how big it is. Look at the shoulders and the head.
And so that's where that drop off was. So it was standing behind that. There was a drop off there and like using this like a countertop. But we couldn't figure out, like, we thought it was sitting because we couldn't see it the rest of it. We were just seeing it like waist up, and we're seeing it's moving its arms. You see the conical head.
And the black thing in its hands.
Mm-hmm.
Big shoulders.
Is it still playing?
Yeah, it's still playing.
Oh, mine's frozen.
Oh, again. No, it's still playing. Yeah, definitely. We had to have it stabilized. I mean, you can see how it's a FLIR, you know, it's not a 3D image. It's a FLIR. So it is what it is. But yeah, 13 minutes. 13 minutes he sat there, and we were not quiet at all. At all. And he didn't try to run away, and we didn't try to get any closer, and he let us record him.
And it was pretty interesting when we did pull up in the car. That is, Jen was immediately, she was like, okay, it's like 20 feet this way before. I mean, it was like everything lined up. Jen said 20 feet this way.
30 feet.
Tammy pulls out the FLIR. I'm sorry, what?
30 feet.
30 feet. Oh, the shame. I'm wrong again, gall darn it.
No.
So there's no way that this Sasquatch person did not know you were there. He knew you
No
were there.
way.
You were
No
making
way.
noise
We
and
were
drove up and
Oh yeah.
screaming and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So to me, he's giving you a gift. It's like,
yes.
you
He
know,
let us record him. Definitely.
let you record him. How fabulous.
It was very calm. The energy was very calm. There was no fear in us either, which was kind of unusual. I guess when you're in that situation, you don't know how you're going to act. And I think we all felt extreme calm in a situation where
I wasn't
not
trying
everybody
to
would.
run away. I just wanted to get the footage. I had no thought of running away. And the other black thing that's bigger in the forefront is actually a rock. To the right is a rock.
What was interesting too is after the fact, I thought, why didn't we walk over there? And I thought about why didn't I walk over there? And the thought never entered my mind to try to get closer. It never even occurred to me to do that. Then I asked everybody else, why didn't you walk closer to it? Why didn't you do it? And this, why didn't you? It never occurred to any of us to do that.
I try to respect their space personally. I figure they get as close as they want to be. You know what I mean?
Very much so.
But I think that's part of the paranormal soul contract kind of thing. You just feel what you feel when you're feeling it. And
Exactly.
That's amazing.
That's great. That's a really good job. I use thermal, and I can tell you right now, that's really good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and back then we didn't have, a whole lot of equipment. So what little that we had, we keep adding to it. Getting better stuff all
and
the time.
Zero editing experience. Zero.
Oh, yeah. Zero editing experience. That's for sure. We don't really, Jenna's learning a little bit about that now, but I just don't have any more room in my head for stuff like that.
I'm the same way. Thank God people help me out when I need it.
Yeah,
Oh
once
my gosh,
in a while, I'll pan off of the footage and I'll look up at the trees and then back down just to make sure that what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing and the lighting is correct.
Right. That's good.
So Jen, let me ask you, have you seen enough of this? I guess it's pretty much over.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool for sure. I kind of feel them on they connect with me on an energetic kind of level too. And I heard you say that's how one of the ways they connect with you. So how do you experience that? What's it like for you?
When I'm feeling that vibration, well, literally I asked to feel the energy of Bigfoot when Bigfoot was near. So I'll give you an example of another time prior to that thermal. Jenna and I were riding in a car. Somebody else was driving through my reservation, and I wanted somebody else to be driving so I could just open my awareness fully into that sensing rather than being aware of driving. So Nikki was actually driving the car, and we're driving about 55 miles an hour down this road. And we were going to go to this, what they call the seeded lands on my reservation. And I had never been to the seeded lands. I was kind of excited. And so, but I'd put it out there that I wanted to feel the energy of Bigfoot if there was any Bigfoot nearby. And all of a sudden, 55 miles an hour, I yelled out, "Stop the car, turn around. We got to get in that woods right there. There's something in there." And, she's like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, "No, turn around and go back in." And so we turned around and we found a way to get back there. And back behind this little woods was a gravel pit that none of us knew was back there. And right there, going up the side of this very steep gravel pit hill, was very clear footprints going all the way to the top. And we were shocked. I mean, you couldn't miss them. And so we did our first attempt at casting those, but I mean, we had just a really unique experience in that location. Jenna, do you want to tell about that a little bit?
Sure. Like Jen was saying, we were driving 55 miles an hour and she's literally like, you guys, wait. There was a turn back there. I really, we have to turn back in. So we end up turning and, kind of like she explained, we found these fabulous prints. Well, Nikki and I end up crawling up this hill because this hill was so steep. You literally had to crawl up. Like you would take a step down and sink 4 inches to get another 4 inches. So it was just really difficult. Later, I found out there was an easier path, but I took the hard path up that hill. And yes, so there's no possible way that a human being could have walked foot by foot by foot. I don't care how tall you are. Anyway, I finally got up to the top, and the first thing that I noticed is that it's completely flat, and there's no other footprints. There's no other footprints anywhere. And I'm just like, this just is so strange. And previously, Jen had always told me, Jenna, if you ever hear or see of circles within circles within circles, this is something that is considered a portal. So you always want to keep your eyes open. So when I got up there, and this is the craziest thing, and we do have pictures. The craziest thing was there was 3, and they were in a triangle. There was 3 big circles, and inside it was almost like the frequency had mowed down everything growing up. It had literally I can't even, how would you explain that,
Gosh,
Jen?
everything was smashed down. All the little weeds that
Smashed,
were
but
growing up there were smashed flat. You could see where they were. She took pictures of it up there. You could see all the weeds standing behind it or around these areas, but right in those spots, they was completely smashed. The weeds were smashed down, and all
yeah.
you saw was these circles within circles within circles
And they were
within circles. And it was
perfect circles too. And how often do you see 3, To me, it was a really incredible
That's like a
experience.
crop circle where they just lay over, the plants just lay over on their side.
Yes, but how big do you think they were, Jen? They were probably each this big, which if I think about it, this is a foot, so at least a foot and a half to 2 feet wide.
And
That's
the
my
footprint
estimate.
stopped at the top. There was
Yeah.
no footprints up there, no footprints going down the other side.
No.
They just stopped.
Just
And
stop.
that's all that was at the top.
So that's a part of me that started going, okay, this is weird, because those 3 remind me of, like people talk about alien crafts leaving those 3 marks, and you always think about that. And I was like, what have we gotten into?
How far apart were they?
They weren't very far apart at all. That's the thing. Boy, they were probably, if I remember correctly, maybe 6 to 8 inches apart from one another. They weren't that far apart, but they were far apart enough to where, yeah, at least
from center to center of each circle, if you drew a line from one to the other, and then from that one to the other, and then from that one back to the first one, would you get an equal sided triangle from that?
yes.
Okay.
From what I looked at, yes, it would have lined up perfectly. Perfect triangle.
Does
And I
that
don't
mean
know.
something to you, Arla?
It's yeah, it does. It's
Okay.
actually part of an energy connection where all kinds of information comes in. All kinds of information comes in from Star Nation beings, from the Sasquatch, from Dogman, from fairies, from everybody. It's like a universal information place, because it's said that the world can be created with a triangle or a pyramid, and if you stack them all together, you will get a circle, and you can build on that triangle to continue out and make a larger one, even to the point of you're making like a globe from that.
So
And so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to ask. So when we saw 3, you're saying that literally 3, the 3 making the circle?
Yes. Actually, those 3 circles were the points of that triangle.
Okay.
So they connect, they send out energy, and sometimes you can see them pulse.
Wow.
And sometimes I don't know if you felt them pulse when you were looking at them, if you got a particular feeling.
I did
And you
actually.
were,
It made me turn around. It literally made me
yeah,
turn around and look at them because I had just looked. Yeah,
yeah.
I was focused on those tracks.
So the energy of that was going to pull you to make you notice that, to see it.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
That shape is also the beginning of a tetrahedron.
Yes,
If
it
you had
is.
one more ball in the invisible at the same apex point, that would be a tetrahedron,
Yep.
which gives you four, and that's the four directions. That's the spirit, heart, will, and body. That is the symbolic representations of the foundations of creation, which you could say is God. We have that in our heart, the double tetrahedron, which is the Merkaba.
Yeah. Merkaba.
So that's what when she's saying information is because that's the smallest unit of consciousness, and that's what everything's built out of.
Yep. It comes out of that and it makes a whole, makes a completeness. And that can go on infinitely.
You know
Mm.
what? Okay, right now I'm like totally having a kick in my butt moment where I'm thinking, why didn't I stand in the middle of those? Why didn't I stand in the middle of those? Wouldn't that
Because
have been amazing?
you weren't supposed to then.
I
Every
guess
time I
so.
talk to them this Saturday, I do the same thing every time I talk to them. They give me that aha moment, like they make the light bulb go off. So
You ever see
Ah,
that symbol called the flower of life
yes, the
with all
lotus.
the circles? That's
Oh
what we're
wait, no.
talking about. This is the core unit of that.
Yes.
You keep going, it becomes the flower of life, and they're all actually balls, little balls of light.
Very cool.
And
Look at
that's
that.
one of the things that the Star Nation people now are using as a symbol is the triangle or the pyramid. That's a beginning of information, the beginning of connection. And as you connect with that, that's why you see so many things of the copper pyramids and some of the other things. You're dealing with that symbol, and that's a beginning energetic symbol.
Mm,
For you to see that is like
mm.
phenomenal, because
Wow.
those things aren't seen a lot now. So I would say at the top of that was very much a traveling place as well,
That makes sense.
that you could be there and you can go anywhere you want to if you
Wow.
Like
know
that,
what you're doing.
Okay,
by
now all I
willing it
need is
with
a
your
time.
consciousness,
Hmm?
by willing it with your consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to connect into it vibrationally. The vibration of your vibration, your energy has to connect with it. It's not like anybody can go up there and stand there and connect with it. You have to connect into that, and you can sync your vibrations with it. And that's how you're able to travel.
So Arla, I've seen once where like the Sasquatch, like he drew it in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much similar. There was a blue feather in the middle of it too. It wasn't
Yeah.
big, but yeah, all right. I'll show it to you later. But yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Awesome.
So if it makes you girls feel better, I just got to connect the dots too.
Nice. Nice.
That's
Ding.
awesome.
Always a
Every
good
time I
thing.
talk to them, every time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I've seen
What do you
similar
think,
things to that up
Jen?
here.
Jen, what do you
Well,
think? What do you feel?
Well, okay, so years prior to this, I was watching some type of show on TV there. They were looking at petroglyphs. And as I looked at the image, I instantly felt that I knew what it was saying. And it wasn't what they were saying on TV. And I was like, oh, well, that looks like, to me, it looks like that's a portal. And this person is opening it. And there's somebody on the other side at the other portal. And to me, it was like an instruction manual. And I was like, that's so interesting. And so I started looking at more petroglyphs online and seeing, do they make sense? Do I feel like I know what they mean? And I just, for a long time, I just assumed that symbol, the circle within circle within circle, or a spiral, was representing a portal. And I thought, I probably should actually look that up and see if that's right, because I just keep saying it like it's fact. And so I did a Google search, and I did the petroglyph portal, and the images that came up were circles within circles within circles on the stone. So that was correct. That was the image for a portal. And so it makes sense to me. It made sense to me that they would draw it the way that it appeared to them. And
Yes.
different frequencies can
Yep.
make different patterns in the dirt or in the sand.
Yep.
And so if that was what was left behind when somebody opened a portal and traveled through it, then, that would make sense, that would be how they drew that on the petroglyph.
Yeah.
So my idea about that, so Jenna knows that we were traveling across country all the time in the car with camping gear, and we'd go somewhere and we'd try to find stuff on our way back. And it's hard to find areas with petroglyphs, especially up in the Midwest. And so we'd kind of be looking along the routes that we were traveling, and if there was a place with petroglyphs, they generally don't tell you which petroglyphs they have. You have to go there and look at them yourself, which is so annoying, because I just want to know where they are. Do you have the circles within circles? That's what I'm looking for. So my idea was that if we could find this, perhaps that is representative of a door that we could perhaps access. And so that was always our side trip, looking for petroglyph sites. And so Jenna knew circles within circles was important. So when she was up at the top of that gravel pit hill and I'm yelling up at her, Jenna, where do the footsteps go? She goes, circles.
I was so excited, you guys, when you see something like that, it that doesn't make sense, and you're a big skeptic on everything. I mean, you just, things that make you go, old enough people know what that means.
Yeah.
Also,
Where do I go
the
from
the
here?
Irish shamrock, which is a petroglyph. You know what I mean? There's three, like a shamrock. There's the three petals of three
Oh
leaves,
yeah.
but they're
Yeah.
actually in a coil. Yeah.
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 You ever heard of a guy named Dan Winter? You ever heard of Dan Winter? He's like
Sounds
this
Sounds
familiar.
electrical engineer. He's kind of real genius kind of a guy.
Okay.
Well, that spiral, right, is also a representation of the collapse of a sine wave into a longitudinal wave, and that's where everything happens. That's where bliss happens. That's where life happens. And he's got this whole thing wired out. If you want to go learn something about
Yeah.
that, and when you look at it, it's actually it's like a sine wave goes like this, but then when it collapses, it spins down. Right? When it spins down to a point, it goes faster than light, and all of a sudden everything happens, right? So
That's very
longitudinal
cool.
waves. It's a longitudinal wave, which lets you go from one place to another, because the longitudinal wave doesn't go through space and time. It just it's here and there at the same time. It's pretty cool when you look at it that way.
That's
What do
very
you
cool.
what do you ladies think of these circle pictures? Jen, you want to give me your opinion, and
I can't see
Miss Cobbler?
anything. Can I leave the room and come back? Because
No,
all I see, everything is
be up.
black and names. That's all I see. I'll be right back.
There it is.
That is absolutely beautiful. What
Mhm.
care? What care?
Yeah. What are you guys picking up on that? It's kind of like, well, there's two circles for sure.
What's in the middle? The very middle.
Right here,
Yeah. What is that?
underneath the leaves, you
I
mean?
need my glasses.
On top of the
mushroom-
leaves in the very middle.
I see
It's
it.
It looks like
It's
a
a dirt-
flower center or something.
Like
that.
just a dirt plot or something, I think. But there's mushrooms underneath this. But, oh, yeah. What do you
That-
think? What do you think, Arla?
That represents the beginning of the circle as the circle moves out. That when we're dealing with beings who make these, and could be any being to do it, we're not always going to get exact circles, but the representation is still the same, even though it's not an exact one.
Mm.
But that's I see the dot, the beginning of the circle, and then I see that circle outside that, and then the circle outside that as well.
Do we know how big this is? Is there anything to maybe get a size?
The pine
Yeah,
cone.
it's
Pine
mine.
cones.
It's it's about I don't know, 12, 14 inches in diameter, like each width and height kind of thing, whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's,
Well,
it's
even
fair
the
size.
leaves, even the
Is it as
leaves
big
where
as a
the sticks
bicycle wheel
are,
there, Brian?
Similar, maybe not quite as big, but just a little bit smaller. Where did
Even
Jenna
the-
go? Or
She's
Jen
right there.
go? Or-
She's right there.
I'm here. Jen actually had to step off for a minute because she wasn't able to make a comment on the pictures because she couldn't see the pictures. So she's going to be signing in momentarily.
back.
I'm sure.
I'm
Are you
here.
back?
She's back.
Okay.
You popped in.
He's
I
over
see your
What did-
face.
She's back incognito.
Where did our pappy go? Okay, anyway, so what do you Arla made a comment on this one. Jen, what are you feeling on this one? This is what from my clan up my way. They make stuff like this.
It definitely looks like it could be symbology of circles within circles to me. And what could they be trying to communicate to you with that? I mean, have you tried to communicate with them in a likewise fashion?
Well, I always thought of circles, you know, they give me like downloads of information or whatever, but it's like about universal like connections and stuff or whatever. I just always thought of the circle as connection, but and then of course the glyphs that are for me, I can read them because it's a language that we share between the two of us, the understanding of it. So as far as that goes, I've just always thought of circles as connections. So that's why I was interested in what you ladies thought.
Very cool.
Well,
Well,
I definitely think
off the
circles
bat,
up.
you have there's an outside the circle is one kind of a location or reality, and then inside the circle is a completely different reality. It's a different texture, different color, different. The outside is kind of living, the inside is kind of dead. It's like very interesting, these contrasts of what it's doing there.
I also find these interesting. See these little
I
things?
noticed that. Yeah, I did.
That's like the moss you find on rocks, right?
Isn't that lichen?
Or on trees.
It's
yeah,
lichen. It's lichen.
lichen.
Yeah, it's lichen.
I'm liking it.
But I'm pumped. That was good. It is absolutely beautiful. It
Well,
really is.
do you notice that the leaves that are right next to the sticks are all the stems are all facing outward?
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
then-
and look at
and
them.
then
Yeah.
In the
And-
very
and they're-
middle, it's
and look-
a
yeah.
pile of leaves.
Yes.
Yeah, like here, it's going outside of the circle. Here. Yeah,
Everything was
here.
placed with care.
Mhm.
Every piece was placed with care.
Well,
It's
they're very meticulous in the things they make or whatever. So that doesn't surprise me. So let's look at another. Yeah, let's look at another one while we're talking about circle. So what do you girls think of this? I was led to this. Like
Oh,
you're talking about
wow.
energy, Jen.
Nice.
So like
Hang on, I
one of
gotta
the
go
thi-
back. It's still stuck again. I'll come back.
That is really, so what were you saying? So sorry.
Well, one of the ways that they connect with me is that they will give me a thought placement, which can be just guiding me someplace, or I'll have a thought and the answer will be there. Sometimes they will guide me places to find stuff, and so this is what they did in this particular incident. And
that looks really large.
this one's very large. Yeah, this one's like
Now,
Couple
does
few
that strike
yards.
you- Does that
What?
strike you as is that a labyrinth? You think like
It's a spiral.
It's a spiral. Yeah,
It's a
it's a
spiral.
spiral.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the spiral. That they're just incredibly powerful because everything, even atoms, have that kind of a spiral shape to them.
what I find amazing with this, and you try to go out in the woods and make this. Look at every stick
Yeah.
just curved.
Yeah,
They're all curved.
it's amazing.
Can you go out in the woods and find all those curved sticks and put something like that together? It's like about 10, 12 feet across.
Yeah.
At least something like that.
Did you walk inside of it? Did you go inside of it? Did you feel anything from it?
I'm trying to think.
How could you not
I
walk
can't-
that spiral?
I did walk inside of it, yeah, but I can't remember if I felt anything, although I can't remember specifically if I did.
I'm
Whoa.
wondering, do you guys know if the spiral is if it's going clockwise versus counterclockwise, if there's a difference as far as meaning?
It looks like it's going clockwise to me, doesn't it? It looks like it's going
Well, it
this way.
depends on
doesn't
if it started in the outside or on the inside, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
I guess
if
you're
it's
right.
counterclockwise, it's banishing. If it's clockwise, it's invoking.
Okay, is that the same thing you were going to say, Tom?
There's
That's good
something
to
else
know.
on here that I just noticed is there's these broken pine stems. And I see right on the top, like 3 o'clock on the right hand side is one, and then there's one on the inside loop and another one that's 4 across. It's kind of almost in
That's
line.
Could that be
That-
And there's another one
directional?
at the top. I
That's
don't know,
something
but there's
that
one at the top, so that's like 5 that I see.
Would that be directional, do you think? I mean, it'd be really interesting had we had a compass there to see exactly.
But
It's a
I
good
mean, those are obviously put there. That there may not have even
Right.
been a pine tree close by.
yeah, there
Yeah.
is that's the native forestation there, but
Okay.
it's not pine, it's fir. But
Fir.
Who took this picture?
Is a corner for.
the and I just the addition of something like that is something that these people in this area do readily, often. Brian will tell you too, how many glyphs and structures we find that are have either these fir boughs or especially the sword fern. They
Yeah.
use a lot of sword fern to annotate their structures. We just found tons and tons and tons of that. I know Brian has some great pictures that show that. I don't know if he's got them on the schedule here or not.
No, I just wanted to show a few of the circle ones because we
Yeah.
were talking about circles.
Say,
Okay.
Tom, you were
Tom.
mentioning a particular type of tree. Is that a bend? I mean, does it bend easily, or I mean, is
No.
this like okay?
Fir trees are about as tough as they come.
Okay, so this is
Okay.
something. If this is fir trees, then somebody had to do something special to these.
Well,
Well,
I can see,
I believe that they can manipulate any shape or object or themselves in any form they want. They could have bent these sticks with just their intention. I think.
Yeah.
I think there's so many of them that I think that they just bent them with their
100%.
mind or whatever.
100%.
And wet sticks bend.
But what's that?
Especially-
If you
What-
soak wood in water, you can bend it. So
Right.
Yeah, but-
they could be like from water that they just bent.
no, this not where these are. This is this is dry ground up there, as dry as it ever gets in BC, and which is only slightly drier than where I am.
Oh no!
I see a lot of moss, so it can't be
Yeah.
that dry.
Well, that's what makes this area such a wonderful research area. That
Bet.
whole place has this moss carpet. So anything that's done is like being done on a carpet. And it's easy to find. There's no underbrush in there at all. See those little sticks up there in the upper edge, just in from the right, the left side. That's the only underbrush you'll ever find in that area, and those are dead. It's just an absolutely marvelous place for this. But we had such absolutely fantastic decorations done. But these are looking at that branch. It looks like an Avi's Avis grandis, grand fir.
Yeah.
And,
The other thing is, sorry, Tommy. So
the one in the back, the green limb that's growing there, that's hemlock, western hemlock. Occidentalis heterophilia.
the other thing that this moss and whatever in the ground up here is very conducive to leaving tracks. So tracks are not very hard to find up here. You can find them all over the place.
And when they want you to find them, they'll tear that moss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So here's the last one, and this was and this one I'm pretty sure that they did it. Well, I know they did this one. The next one
I'm
because
gonna
I've
have
seen
to go and
I've
come
s-
back again because it's not changing for me. I'll be right back.
I've seen them etch stuff in the dirt before, and here again is an interesting one. A circle, and I don't know what this is inside of here. And I've also seen this
Oh, there it is.
in another glyph arrangement that they did. So, which adds to the evidence that they did it. But I'm not really sure what this one is. But it's an interesting. It almost seems like off planet or something to me, or something for some reason.
Looks like a test pattern for an alien.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
And notice a complete absence of greenery in this. There's one little cedar frond on the far left. It's outside of the range of the structure, and no other greenery whatsoever.
Well, that's because this is right on a path.
Yeah.
One
but
of
they
the, one
would
of the
place
trails.
it there. They would place it there if they wanted it there.
Well, if they want me to find it, they could lead me to it, but they're also gonna place them on paths, that I'm walking. So
Yeah, right.
I've got
So
I've
that's
got a
interesting.
question. So you guys, as I'm looking at this picture, I'm seeing this circle. I'm also seeing something in the middle, almost looking like, I don't
Yeah.
know, like to pull open, almost like a drawer. But then above the circle, you've got one stick that's right above
Yeah.
the spot in the middle.
Here,
Do you think that was specifically placed?
I think that's significant. Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
I did too. Yeah.
And do you think it has something to do with that same size and shape in the middle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
do.
what
yeah.
did you think the shape was outside of the circle that looks like a strawberry?
Well, yeah. This is interesting because it
Or a
just makes it's just compelling that they did it, because I saw another glyph. I've only seen this strawberry thing. Like, it looks like a strawberry that's crossed over, like tied, kind of thing. And I saw it in another complex message that I got, and I've only seen it twice. And the other one is undoubtedly Sasquatch. And so when I seen this one, well, it's Sasquatch. I'm almost positive. But the fact that this is there really is compelling. But I don't really know what it means. Yes. But it's interesting. But anyway, the circle, for a number of the reasons that we talked about and reasons that they use it for, is very significant for them. So anyway.
Yes. I'm gonna have to go, you guys. I've got people I gotta go in there and take care of. We're having a gathering here. I've got people in from other places. The Frickens are here.
Oh, the
Tom.
frickin' chickens there. Hey,
Yeah,
be sure to give
they're
them a hug
here.
for me.
I will.
right.
And Terry Wendell
Follow me.
is here
Oh, yes.
already. So
Yeah.
Arla, it was so wonderful seeing your face. I'm just so glad you were here today.
well, I had to be with you girls. I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so awesome.
that's it. So you guys have a good show for the rest, and it was good to see all your faces and hear your voices too. And I'll talk to you boys later.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.
You boys. Bye, Miss Thing, sweet thing.
Around
Bye.
me with a good
Good
time.
night.
Bye.
Miss Thang or Miss Thing?
I said Miss Sweet Thing. At first I said Miss Thing, and then I said Miss Sweet Thing, since you guys are all about food.
Well,
I don't know how this happened. Yeah.
she could have said that right, but she hadn't spent the last month in Texas.
Oh,
Is Pepsi food? Because we could have called Tom Pepsi Pappy. Because he drinks about a case. He drinks about a case of Pepsi a day.
No, I do. I drink 2 a day.
Oh, Tweety! Every time I call you, you got a Pepsi in your hand.
And right, and I opened this one at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'm still working on it.
I'm gonna go get one
Oh.
too, Tom.
well, I'm warm.
Well, you know what? I would like to. This is for Jennifer. Now you,
Jenna or Jenna? Jen.
Jennifer.
Well,
That's
we're
you,
both
Jenna.
Jennifer.
They're both
I'm Jennifer.
Jennifer.
I'm
Oh,
Jenna.
You have Jennifer on your name.
I'm seeing Jen on the bottom and Jennifer on the top.
My bad. I don't know why I put Jennifer Grover. Must have been another interview. Jenna Grover.
Okay, well, it's okay.
Better known
But
as
you
Hey
can call
You.
me. Yeah, just call me Hey You Chickadee.
So tell us about the interesting time you had with Tom at a conference when you and his other son, his least favorite son. I'm one of his sons. The other guy doesn't like much,
Oh.
but you, well, not as much as me anyway. But you guys saw him transform or whatever.
I
Right?
did. It scared the living tar out of me. In fact, we were all it was after an event and we had all met to have, a meal afterwards. And Tom and a friend of
Wayne.
his and
Wayne.
yes, Wayne. So we were all sitting at the end of the table and we were having a discussion and I was just, my heart was full. My gratitude was full. I was just in the right place at the right time and felt the right feeling. And I was sitting there listening to Tom and I was listening. And as I was listening, all of a sudden it was like this Bigfoot face, like started coming out of his, almost like it was like looking like this, like coming out forehead first. Scariest thing. And I looked away because I thought I can't be seeing this. And I looked again and it was still there. And I looked away again and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm seeing this. So then I looked back for the third time and I was so scared when I was looking at it. And I knew what I was seeing, but I just couldn't believe I couldn't believe I was seeing it. So I sat and I stared and it just kind of went back again. And what I noticed right away was a hairline that was very, very pronounced, very hair, because it almost looked like it was hair like coming down, but it wasn't. It was actually the hair was coming up and over like this. It wasn't coming down like bangs, but it was back like this. I'm sorry you guys can't. Are we in the radio too? Can they?
No.
Oh, okay. Then we don't have to worry
no.
about that part. So yeah, so it was just an incredible experience. And I saw the eyes and this whole area from here and I freaked out. And then Wayne looked at me, he goes, "What did you just see?" I was so freaked out. I told him exactly what I saw. I said, "I just saw Bigfoot coming out through Tom." And I'm sorry, Tom, I love you dearly. But when I first knew you and you said that, Bigfoot came through you, I'm very much a skeptic and I didn't believe. And it was almost like they came through to say,
Oh,
listen, girly, and
that speaks volumes because you had asked questions about, where do I go now? What do I do next?
yeah.
And I was talking to that, and he was speaking, my teacher, Red Stripe, Akanisha, was speaking through me to you. And I always know when he's doing that because my voice changes. It gets much deeper and has more of a resonance to it and an echo effect to it. And then all of a sudden you looked away and I know I'm not the most handsome guy in the world anymore. But what did I do to get that response?
Yeah,
but that
right.
makes sense. Yeah, the fact that you were I was wondering why he was doing it, and I've wondered since then because that was June of last year when that happened, and I didn't know why he had done it. You just answered that question.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when was Tom talking at the time? When his
He was talking.
Was his voice the same or was it different?
To be honest,
I
I wasn't even paying attention to what he was saying after I saw what I saw. Because here's the thing, you're seeing as a human being, you're seeing something that first of all, you've never seen before in your life, and you've got to adjust and you've got to take it in. That's why I looked away twice, because I figured if I look at it, oh, and it's not there next time, then I'm fine. And it was there the second time I looked at it. And I thought, okay, if I look at it again for the third time, Jenna, you better do this now. You look at it. And I did, and I looked, and that's when it started going back. But I forgot your question. Sorry, I got so excited.
No, but
Well,
it's true.
I
It's
was-
like in the
the-
scary
the-
movie. Like you cover your eyes. It doesn't mean that the movie's not playing still. You know what I mean? And like
Yes.
it's not gonna happen. But it's like you cover your eyes and you kind of like look over and then you cover them again. You look.
That, and I have to be honest too, when it comes to seeing what I saw, I had more of a problem with how it came through than actually what I saw, because I'm
Sure.
here. I've seen spirit, I've seen, different elemental things, but I've never seen anything come through anyone before like that. That was very solid. And that's what freaked me out, because I thought, is this interdimensional travel? Did I just witness interdimensional travel? I mean, if that's the case, I want to do it again, and this time be prepared and ready for it. And maybe that's what they were doing, is making me ready and prepared. So the next time I happen to see something, I won't look away 3 times or twice or whatever,
Mhm.
The reason I asked you my question is because of the voice. Is because I'm almost positive that Wayne said that Tom's voice changed too when he was talking.
I think he told me the same thing.
So
He-
not only was he was taking on Red Stripe's facial features, he was talking in his voice too, I believe.
But this wasn't him. This was not Tom taking on Red Stripe's facial features. This was him coming through. This was Red Stripe or the Sasquatch that I saw literally coming through. It was a solid. It wasn't, it was huh?
It wasn't see-through. It was solid.
It wasn't, yeah, it was solid. It was literally, yeah, it just.
No, but
it was
the
so
point
incredible.
is, it was Tom's face was transformed, right? Or was it just
No,
the other
Tom's face was the same.
Oh, the
Right.
other face was in front of it.
It was like,
Yeah.
it was more, it came through this part of Tom's face. So I still saw Tom's face from the eyebrows down, whereas this thing was coming through up here. Like I said, almost like he was like looking in like this. So this is the part that I saw,
Okay.
actually probably like this, but it was on here on Tom's head. So I still saw his face, but it was like a solid comment. That's why I thought, is this interdimensional travel? Did I just experience this? Because I never
Yes.
believed in that either.
Yeah.
I mean, I
pretty
believe,
much.
but I'd never seen it.
Well, yeah, I've been with Tom before, where I've seen him go into a trance and talk their language and different things like that, and his eyes rolling back in his head and weird stuff. But
Wow.
And that
I'm
was
wondering,
just a
what you-
dinner.
but I was going to
That's
say,
funny.
what's your experience, Tom, when this happens? Are you aware of something going on, or
I'm not
how did-
aware of it. That's the first time I've ever heard about a physical change in appearance. He channels me often when he has stuff to say to people. That's happened on several times. He's channeled me, and well, you and I and Stu and the rest of the gang in the Blue Mountains that time. Yeah, he did it there.
Yeah, Tom was looking up the hill, and I think there was a group of 4 of them, and they were talking back and forth.
Yeah,
Was it 4 or 5?
there were 5,
Okay,
including Taranika,
okay.
Red Stripe's daughter.
But
But she
anyway,
was just a youngster then.
Sue heard them walking along the ridge as the meeting ended, but Tom came back, and he was talking in another completely different language. Like he was talking Sasquatch language, and he was
The
talking like that for
amazing
quite a
thing
while.
is it's a language I don't know, a language I don't speak, but I understood it perfectly in the 20 or 25 minutes that they talked to me. And I answered them. I talked back to them, came back to camp. They asked me a question, and I answered their question, these guys. And evidently
in that language, yeah.
yeah, I still use that same language. So yeah, there's strange things done in the midnight sun by the men and
What I love
roll.
about this is what a powerful teaching, because you're talking about 2 two beings being in the same spot at the same time, even though
Yes.
Tom couldn't feel it at all. In other words, there was a unity there, and he couldn't feel it, other than you could hear himself talk, right?
Yeah.
But then what,
Well,
like how does that work? And the actual Sasquatch probably wasn't even anywhere close to it.
no, probably not.
That's,
Yeah.
it took me so long. I still question it. I'm still questioning it, to try to grasp it at
Well, you
what
have
I
to break
saw,
it down. How does that
right?
work? How does it work?
Yeah.
What is the physics involved?
And
What is the
we were
action
not
involved?
drinking at this meal, just to let you guys know. I was not drinking at this meal.
There were 10 people at the table,
Yeah.
or so, 10 or 12 people at that
Yeah.
table. And we just happened to be the three of us at the end. There was Jenna, and then next to her, between her and I, was Wayne. And then I was seated at the end of the table because I was on my scooter, and I just pulled right up to the end of the table. And like I said, I have felt this before when he uses me to channel, but this was so special. And I never remember what I say when it's done because it isn't coming out of me, it's just coming through me.
Yeah.
5 minutes after it's done, I have no recollection whatsoever of what was said.
Well, that's common to people.
Yeah,
who
that's pretty
channel.
common for me now anyway, but
No, but when people channel like Sasquatch or other
Or spirit.
beings or
That's
whatever,
what I was
spirit
gonna
or
say,
whatever, quite often they don't remember anything. That they might remember a little bit, but not much of really what they were saying or whatever. Because
I think it's because it's not theirs to keep.
no, it's
Right?
well, it doesn't come out of my mind. It's just
Mhm.
Or
coming
just the
through my mouth.
conduit.
Yes.
But Mr. Beans made an interesting point. Tom, do you think he was doing that remotely, like or do you think he was right there in the room?
No, I don't think he was right there. I think he's capable of being as remote or as direct as he wants to be.
Well, we know that.
Yeah,
But
I don't think he has to be right there. I certainly
No.
didn't. I was so when he's channeling like that, I'm so buzzed anyway that what are you going to do?
I want to
It's just-
channel. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
the real reason why you're channeling.
Yeah.
He wants to get buzzed.
Well, maybe I misused it. Buzzed in my vernacular from 150 years ago. Okay. But what I mean is your whole body's on fire because of what's happening, and you don't want it to stop. You just want to enjoy the feeling and knowing that you're helping.
Yeah.
And they give me the most wonderful gifts when this happens.
You might never get invited to dinner again, or you might get a lot of invites.
Right?
Depending who it is.
So
Can
ever
I-
since this happened, Jenna's wanted to go and spend some more time with Tom where we actually had time with Tom. And the last
Yeah.
time we saw Tom, I was feeling pretty poorly. I wasn't feeling good. And both times I saw Tom, I wasn't feeling too good. I was trying to keep my distance.
I feel like
Didn't
that
get
when
him
I
sick.
see him too.
No,
Oh,
I wanted to be close to Tom. And I think Jenna keeps like, well, we got to go be with Tom. And I want to go be with Tom. And I believe Jenna had this experience, and I think that it can be available. Like if I were to sit with Tom and just listen to Tom and focus on Tom and ask for that experience, perhaps we could see it together.
yes. And maybe we could figure out what the heck it is. Because, yeah.
Well,
That would
I
be
think it was
amazing.
pretty
Maybe
simple
it's
to
not
me when
ours
you
to
were
know
just
at this
talking, when you were
time.
both talking. You had said you didn't really believe in Bigfoot mind speaking or coming through, and
Right.
then you saw Bigfoot literally coming through Tom. I think
Yeah.
that was like,
That's-
hello, this is a real deal,
And
man.
now you know.
Yeah.
Well,
That-
and that's,
yeah. That's
Like
how they
I-
do stuff. That's
I
how
think
they
that's
do
a
things,
great-
They give
Yeah.
you what you need when you need it. Like
Yeah.
well, and like I
sometimes they're
said,
not ready, but yeah.
yeah, and like I said before that, I had seen him and talked to him, and I thought he was wonderful. I was already gravitated toward him. He's a wonderful person. But
Who
wow,
are we talking about,
when-
Tom?
Tom, yes, of course.
Oh, I
Messing
thought you
with
meant
him.
somebody else. No, just
No, but after that happened, it was just like, my gosh, it was kind of like a wake up moment in a lot of ways.
well,
And just
that-
like
that-
Jenna
like I
was
said,
so
that's
skeptical.
how they operate. You didn't believe it and whatever, and so they said, okay, well, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Show up.
Let me tell
and
you a
just
little.
because of how skeptical Jenna always is, she's just like, this happened, and but she didn't want to talk to anybody else about it.
Mhm.
She had to process it and process it and process it, and then
And
she
still
finally said,
process it.
"Okay, I'm ready to talk about
Yeah.
it to other people other than just us."
Yeah.
Let me tell
So
you a short story, just so you know that it isn't all. I'm not all under demand, but they supply rewards for those demands when I meet them. I live now in an assisted living place. Prior to this, in July I'll be here 3 years. The 2 years prior to that, I lived right next door in a rehab center. I had come out of the hospital with pneumonia. It was so bad that they notified my next of kin. Went into rehab for 2 years and finally got where I could get off bottled oxygen to live and all. I had a room to myself in that rehab center, and much to the chagrin of the operators of that rehab center, they did not like that at all, but I did. And one night I carried my oxygen bottle in my, I had a little walker that I used to get around. It has a basket under the seat. I carried my oxygen bottle under that seat. Also put my hairbrush in there too. Okay. In the evening, when it's time to go to bed, I took my oxygen off, put it under the seat, put my CPAP machine on, went to bed, and I used that overnight. Next morning, I get up and take the CPAP machine off, grab the oxygen, put it on. I went to bed on Friday night with that routine. Woke up Saturday morning, opened the seat to grab my hairbrush first, and that's laying right on top of the oxygen bottle in my basket.
Wow.
There are two pairs of nesting golden eagles in the county I live. I have primary wing feather from one of those eagles, gifted to me by the same person we've been talking about, Red Stripe, inside a locked facility, inside a locked room, in the middle of the night, delivered. This is a gift we give you for being our scribe. Keep it well.
Wow.
What do you think that's worth to me?
Amazing story.
At least
I have
$5.
I have something I wanted to
That's
add.
priceless. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have something I wanted to add with this topic about Sasquatch coming through people.
Mhm.
Is I guess about 4 or 5 months ago they showed me. I got this little vision because I've experienced Sasquatch many times watching the videos that I watch through me, right? And I wondered about that. I actually wrote something about that, and I've seen that with other people, and it's happened on the show here a lot. But they showed me that there's about 2,000 Sasquatch that are monitoring everybody's watching videos. They're monitoring about 4 million humans who are interested in Sasquatch and watch videos. So I just wanted to put that out there. And did you understand what I'm saying? There's around
Yeah.
2,000 designated um, Sasquatch who are connected to around 4 million humans who are watching the topic of Sasquatch.
Yeah, and that's how they arrange the pass off of those people that they think are worthwhile to somebody with more experience to get them
Exactly.
started. Like this guy in the middle there, this port guy. Okay. When first time I met him face to face was in 2012 in Richland, Washington at a conference I hosted. He sang me a song. And then we started research, and 5 years we've worked on glyphs and structures and stuff mainly in his area there in BC. Okay. Was it easy? No. Did I hear about it a time or two? Yes. But he's on his own now. Now I've got a beautiful young lady in the same situation. Fortunately, she hasn't called down anybody on me to clean out my earwax yet.
Well, okay, just to take it to another level, another more personal level. For me, I've been doing this with Brian now for about almost 3 years now. How long have we been doing this, Brian? 3 years?
4 years.
Almost 4 years, right? Three and a
No,
half
over.
years.
This is our fourth season. It's got to be 4
Fourth
years.
season, so it's 3.5 years. And just too many times we watch people having an interaction with the Sasquatch people, and people in the comments have an interaction with the Sasquatch people while we're live. So to me, just to put the little icing on the cake, there's about an 85 to 90% possibility that every single one of us now has a Sasquatch with us now, watching what we're doing and saying and interested. I mean, to me,
Almost-
there's just no way that that's not happening.
Almost 100% of the time, or we
Well-
wouldn't be.
Well, I hope we're all impressing them.
Well,
So we had
well, I
we had an
guarantee-
experience that we Jenna and I had an experience that we generally don't talk about, just because it's just so weird.
Bring it on.
But when we had found a very intricately built den-like stick structure, I mean, it was literally just trees stacked on top of each other, and everything was weaved together very tightly, and I grabbed hold of it and shook it, and it wouldn't come apart. I mean, it was a large den-like structure with a tower on the end that had multiple levels. It was just bizarre. And when we came home from that, when we got back to where we live and our expedition was over, Jenna and I were having we'd done our show, and I think we were just after the show, we were just staying in the video chat together, just the two of us. So I'm looking at her full screen and she's looking at me full screen, and I started to see something on Jenna's shoulder. And I'm just staring at her, and we're not saying anything. We're just staring at each other. And for the longest time, and now that right there is a miracle, because between the two of us, we can talk your pants off. I'm telling you, it's just crazy.
We fight
So-
for talk time, like when
Yes,
we're
we
talking
do.
one on
It's my
one.
turn to talk. Anyway, so we're just staring at each other, and I'm not even thinking what is she going through, because I'm just trying to figure out what am I seeing here right now. And literally what it looked like was, it looked like a Sasquatch, but it was small, and it was like laying on Jenna's shoulder. And that's what I was seeing. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then I'm like, Jenna, I'm seeing something there. And she's like, I'm seeing something too. And I'm like, what are you seeing? And what did you see, Jenna?
Oops.
You're on mute.
All I remember is seeing something in the back of you. It was a shadow, and I really did think it was Bigfoot. But at the time, I was such a skeptic. I was just like, I can't be. I can't be. So I just denied. I tried to deny it.
That's what she does.
Well, unless there's plausible, like if there's something, I can't just accept it immediately.
And it was weird because it had like granted, we didn't have the newer computers and cameras that we have now, but they weren't crystal clear cameras or anything like that. But what I was seeing with Jenna, it wasn't clear, and it had like a purple hue, a dark purple hue to it. Like its aura was like a darker color,
Almost
darker purple. Yeah.
Yes, almost like it had been fuzzy
Yeah.
in a certain spot.
And I just kept trying to focus on it, and I'm like, what is that? And it felt like it was trying to show itself to me, and it kind of like and it felt weird to think this or to feel this, but it felt like, hey, you came to our house. We're coming to yours. And that's I didn't even want to feel that. I mean, it was just blowing me away. We never talk about that. Because we can't really describe it, but to you people, I think it's a safe place to do that. But when it's something that I don't physically understand or comprehend what all that was about, it's just a unique experience. But that's what happened when we came back from there.
Wow. So we haven't heard a lot from Tammy. Why don't you share some experiences or some of your favorite experiences or some thoughts?
Tammy doesn't get a word in edgewise with Jenna and I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
You heard them
wanna hear
say
from-
it themselves.
we want to hear from her for a bit.
I'm muting myself right now.
Me
There you
too.
go, Tammy.
No, I don't know what you want to hear. I mean, the biggest thing for me was on top of the mountain in Tennessee, getting that footage. That was my moment that I knew that I was hooked for life. So I haven't seen any Bigfoots coming out of anybody's bodies or sitting on their shoulders or anything yet, but I got the flare footage, so I'll take that.
Have you ladies ever seen them like materialize out of thin air or anything? I've seen that like 3 or 4 times.
I haven't.
Like
I've just seen it going back. Dematerializing maybe? Or
well, I had one appear in my room out of a cloud of smoke, but
Ooh.
they can travel in mist and whatever, and I've seen pictures of them in mist form. And
I've seen aliens.
yeah,
but
and
not
twice. No, it was RV, my clan leader. He appeared in my room right out of a big cloud of smoke, and he got all sharp as image. He looked at me, and so I guess he's all right. And then he he's just checking in on me, just giving me a little gift, and then he disappeared. But I've also
Aw.
seen them crossing the paths and whatever where there was nothing there, and then they completely materialize and stuff. So I'm just wondering, you have girls had any stuff like that happen or?
Not with Bigfoot, but I had when I was living in Minnesota still, I woke up like 30 seconds before my alarm went off one time, and the light was on in my room, which was weird because I don't sleep with my light on. And as I opened my eyes, I see this being get up that was laying next to me in bed, get up and walk out of the room, and then my alarm goes off. And I was like, what was that? Because it was like white, iridescent, sparkly, and it was the shape of a woman, but the head was conical. It wasn't like a Bigfoot shape, but the head was like conical, and she was slender and the shape of a woman and iridescent and sparkly, and just got off the bed and walked out. And I was like, what was that? And then my alarm went off, and I was like, okay.
When
I
you
wish
say
Arla
iridescent and
was here.
sparkly, was she transparent in the middle? Was it just like the outline?
It was it's transparent, but with shape.
Okay, because I saw that when I had that experience when I was a kid.
Did you?
It looked like fluorescent lights. It almost like a chalk line figure. Like the cops use a body chalk
Yeah,
line
mine
figure.
wasn't chalk line, but yeah.
No, but it was like there was nothing other than the outline of it, and they were all sparkly and glowing.
Yeah, it was like
Is that what you saw?
like it was like, if I had to put it in words, like it was in a vase or something. You know how a glass vase that had like a sparkling liquid in it. It was like that. It was clear, you could see through it, but it had shape. And
So
yeah,
there was kind of a motion in the middle, like
it was moving.
Okay.
It was all moving and
Well,
sparkling.
that sounds like predator form. I've seen Sasquatch.
Oh, no,
I've seen Sasquatch in that form. I've had them walking around me in that form, where
I've seen
you can just
I've
kind of
seen
see them. They
little
just
things.
look all what?
I've seen little ones too, like little. It was some little being. I'd seen it 2 days in a row. We got it on video, and it was like running. I mean, light speed. If it wasn't for the camera, you wouldn't have caught it because people were slowing it down. You think you saw something, and then I have people go back to the video and they put it down to like a quarter speed and they watch it, and that's the only way you could capture this thing running. But that's what it was. It was similar to what you're explaining, like the predator. But obviously, it wasn't a predator. The thing was pint sized. You know what I mean? But
Right.
whatever
I've
it
actually
was.
seen a clear thing. My very first paranormal experience was with something that was clear. I was 4 years old. I was sitting on the steps of my grandmother's house in Oklahoma outside, and I just felt like something was looking at me. And I look up, and across the street, there's this big tree, probably an oak, now that I know more about trees. But it was up in this tree. I didn't see it until it moved. It was clear. And when it moved, I could see it. And then all of a sudden I got really, really scared feeling. And I saw it jump down and start running at me across the street. I was 4. So I got up and I'm trying to open the door to my grandmother's house. And I can't get it open. This thing's coming at me. And finally I got the door open and I pulled it open and I ran into the house and it slammed into the glass door and the glass door slammed shut.
Wow.
And I come running in the house. I'm scared. And my mom's like, stop slamming the door. And I was like, how? I couldn't tell her. I'm like, how do you explain that I just saw something that wasn't there? And it did it. It wasn't me. That was my very first paranormal experience that I remember.
Wow, that was a great story. And especially as kids, you can't tell people like things like that because they say it's your imagination or no,
Right.
that's not real.
And
That's
that
the
was
biggest.
that was before the Predator movies were ever a thing. So it was
Mhm.
pre-Predator. So it's not like I saw it and then I did that with my mind. It was before Predator movies existed.
They had to
Tammy,
get
you
that
just told
Predator
everybody
movie
how
from
old we are.
somewhere. You know what I mean? And then they made it into a monster. So other people have seen that too, you know, or they've seen Sasquatch like that, and then they decide to make it into a monster movie.
Right.
Sure, of course. Yeah. But that's what they want you to do. They want you to have that it's like anything. Hollywood has all these things that are so real, but that's what they want you to revert to is when somebody starts talking about it, there's like, society has this thing that they can jump to and be like, oh yeah, what, like Peter Pan, or oh yeah, what, like this, or oh yeah, what, like that. You know what I mean?
I think that
It's
people
almost
had
like,
their fears and they just took those fears and created it into creatures for movies. Like
Could be, yeah.
somebody somewhere had that experience for them to draw from to create these creatures for movies.
sometimes I think, yeah, true. Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, that was me.
That's amazing though.
Back to you.
That's
Story.
amazing.
I think every time we have these paranormal things, it's really good to dwell on it and try to sort it out, and because the Sasquatch rarely do anything that is not also a teaching.
Without
Absolutely.
purpose, exactly.
So when you have something like a
Yeah.
stick lift, you have to sit there and look at it long enough until you understand it or has some kind of meaning for it, or till you completely can't understand it and admit that.
On occasion though, you know what it means immediately. They'll give you the meaning like immediately. Like when I
Can
got
I-
my one walks with four. 1 second. Stone glyph. Remember the one walks with four when I had Bean. As soon as I seen it, I knew what it meant. But yeah, but generally you're right. Go ahead, Jenna.
I was just gonna ask, thank you for calling me Jenna, despite what I wrote in the little name section. I was just gonna mention I was really sick one day and I was, asking for help and I kind of felt like it was Sasquatch and it could have been Red Stripe. But I had asked, I was just like, please, because I know that Thom had told me anytime you're sick or anything, you just ask them. Because I pray to God all the time, but I wasn't praying to, I was just praying for help from any source that I could get it because I was that sick. And I was shown, three triangles without the bottoms. So it was like three triangles without the bottom. And then they made me feel like it was mountains. Like, I don't know if they're building a verbiage for me to understand in the future, but does three mountains mean anything to you? Like 1, 2, and a third?
Three
It's got to
triangles?
mean. It's got to mean.
It wasn't, it didn't have a bottom though. It was like three triangles, but they didn't have a bottom.
Doesn't matter what it means to me. If they're
Yeah,
communicating
it
with you
doesn't.
through that kind of language or whatever, it's what it means to you. Like I find all kinds of A glyphs up here. To me, it's my clan leader's signature. Somewhere else, it's not going to mean that. It's going to mean whatever is specific to that individual.
Right.
So do you ladies think that Sasquatch is flesh and blood or more than that?
We
We're all
have
different.
different ideas about that. I definitely think that Bigfoot is flesh and blood, but has the ability to go into that spirit realm at will. And it took me a while to come around to that idea. Even though my elders were telling me that that's what Bigfoot is doing. I have that rational part of my mind that says, well, I need to see that.
Well, when I saw Jenna's face told me that she's going to be the dying skeptic until somebody shows her something. So you probably think they're just flesh and blood, right?
You know, I started off saying that they were all flesh and blood when I finally believed that they existed. And as time has gone by and the things that I've seen with my own eyes, I have completely changed, especially after what happened with Thom.
The town, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself changed my whole thought on what they were. And now I am thinking more along the lines that they could be interdimensional, that they are possibly, they have a lot of different abilities.
How about you, Tammy?
I think they're interdimensional, and I think that they move between realms. And I think that when they're in this dimension, then they can be physical. But I also think that they vibrate at a higher frequency than we do. And I think
Of
they have to
course.
concentrate to be physical in this realm. And I think sometimes that when they get startled and people see them and they disappear, I think that's because it breaks their concentration and they get pulled back into their own realm. They can't manifest physically when they get startled.
Possibly.
So
You guys want
I,
to? You want? You? Sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just going to say. So I think that in their own realm they are their way, and in this realm they are our way. And whichever realm they're in is how they are. Whatever realm, whatever 3D or dimension, what that requires is what they are.
Do you want to see a couple of my pictures that kind of, to me, prove what we're saying here? Do you want to see a few?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just pulled a couple up. I think you'll be interested in them.
Okay.
They actually
So-
taught me how to go invisible.
Here is my first where I had my first setting of RE. Where it was right in this area. But look, this is the big boulder. But look at this. There's his face right in the boulder. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, it's his face. I know. I've seen it. Arla confirmed it. You can see two eyes, the nose, nostrils, mouth, chin, cheeks, everything. Do you see that?
I see that.
What kind of ability would a being have to do to be able to I don't think he sculpted it. I just think he changed the I guess what we just say, the molecular structure of that
Like,
rock.
yeah, it's genetic makeup or whatever. Yeah. I don't,
Or I've seen them in stump form
yeah.
where I looked away and then suddenly they were gone. So maybe that, maybe
Well,
maybe he
they
just
the
took-
way they
maybe-
the way they
Part of it
taught me,
is-
Brian, was they called it blending and bending. But really, what they in a nutshell, what they showed me was that they're like a master elemental. They're not elementals of just water or just earth. They're elementals of everything, and they can blend and bend with it all. Like, and they told me, stop disconnecting them from the forest, because if you're always looking for Patty, you're not going to find us, because we're always, connected to it in some way.
Yeah. So what do you ladies think? Do you see what I'm talking about?
I see it. Definitely.
My
Yeah?
screen is locked up again, so I'm not seeing anything. But I'm just going to say that I did have an experience where I was at the outdoor classroom on my reservation for Wellness Day, and my native elder, my Wa'a, the one who named me, was teaching this class, and there was lots of people there. We had a circle set up where we listened, and he had his IMAX theater, which was a half a wigwam shading a projection screen, so you could have slides and show different things. And so we're listening to him, and he's teaching us lessons about the medicine wheel and different teachings of from the people. And I look over to my left, and I see, and there's trees all around us. There's trees, and I see at the base of this tree, I saw, it looked like somebody carved 5 little faces, each one the size of a softball,
Yeah.
into the base of this tree. And it looked like they had polished it and sanded it. And it was just, it even looked kind of varnished. And I was like, who did that to the tree? And when did they do that to the tree? I never noticed that before. And I just kept looking at it. And these 5 little faces were just smiling, and the expression was just absolute and pure joy and excitement. And as I'm looking at it, I'm just like, this is so weird. And this is a time in my life when I was questioning, what does everybody see when they look at something? Because I was
Yeah.
studying the brain and how the brain works, and 400 billion bytes per second is what the brain is processing of our senses, but we only consciously are aware of 2,000 bytes out of the 400 billion that our brain is processing. So the chances that everybody is seeing, hearing, feeling the exact same thing is almost nothing, right? So I'm like, maybe that's just something I never saw before. So as soon as he stopped with and I went to a break, I went over to him and I pointed at it. I said, "What do you see there at the base of that tree?" And he said, "Oh, that's the little people." And I was like, "What?" He says, "That's the little people. They're here to help me teach the class today."
Wow.
And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, that's why I built the lodge and the classroom out here, is because they're out here and they're helping me. And they help me with people and teaching and healing them, and they're the ones who give me all the information." I'm like, "Oh." And I'm still thinking, well, somebody carved it there, because that's what it looked like. And he says, "Well, it's not really like that." He says, "They're just standing there blending their energy with the tree so they look like they are part of the tree."
Yeah,
He says, "It
absolutely.
won't look like that later when they're gone." And I was like, "Okay." And so I was really looking at it. It was so beautiful. And then we had lunch and I took my eyes off of it. And when I looked back again, they were gone. And it was just a regular tree again.
Amazing.
But
Yeah.
wouldn't you know, every time I go there, I am like an eagle eyeing all the bases of the trees looking for that kind of thing again. And it was definitely an interesting experience. But it reminded me that, and I had a different experience with a different native elder who told me that I could hide in plain sight. He said, "All you have to do is stand up against a tree and consciously blend your energy with the tree, and you will appear to disappear into the tree. And, maybe it will take on the bark might have a little form of your face, but whoever comes by won't be able to see you." And, I have tried it. I have tried blending my energy with a tree, but nobody came by to see if they could see me or not.
That's
So I
so
have no idea if it
sad.
works.
In
Yeah,
October
that's
of
funny.
in October of 2010, I was called to the Blue Mountains by my teacher because he had something to share with me. During that lecture, he said, "Know this, we have no powers that you did not at one time have.
Yeah.
The difference
Yeah.
is you stopped adapting to your environment and started adapting your environment to you."
Wow.
We did. We moved indoors. Now we're
Yeah.
talking to one another across the fire. We don't need telepathy to speak to one another from ridge top to ridge top.
Yeah.
And what happens in our body if you don't use it?
You lose it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And a lot of the people that they're connecting with, they're opening up these abilities in those people.
That's right.
Okay, so remember I said this is too bad that you can't see this, Jen, because these are amazing pictures.
Let me leave the room and come back, and then it'll refresh. So I'll be right back.
Remember I said that they. Do you remember I said that they can appear in smoke?
Yeah.
Well, here's my wife and I taking a selfie, and here is Ari standing right beside us. I mean, can you not see it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a small picture,
And
but
well, that's as big as I can get it. But look at him. I can more feel than see his smile, but you can see the expression on there's his eyes, his nose. You can just see the joy in his face, right? Like, can you see that?
yeah. Well, like you said before too, like you could tell us exactly what happened, because you're connected to him.
Yeah. Can you girls feel that or see that?
Mm-hmm.
I see. So, yeah, I see him looking at you.
Well, I think what he's doing is I wish Jen could see it too. I think what he's
Total.
doing is he's just being a clown, like he's very
Total bomb.
a total clown. I mean, they've got a great sense of humor, and especially, well, I mean, I know Ari and his family a lot, so but they're really a funny bunch, eh, Tom? And he's just like
Amen.
getting in on the selfie and hamming it up with the rest of us. Like,
That's
oh,
great.
there she is. Here she
I
comes.
have a selfie of Red Stripe too. That he did that. He photobombed me.
Yeah, photobomb. Yeah, they they were saying something earlier about they were on the video call and it looked like the Sasquatch was laying on his shoulder in purple, but it was kind of hard to make out. And then you said earlier, Brian, how they can like take themselves. Well, maybe it was on your show you did earlier, but the discussion was that they can add themselves or take things away from photos at different times.
I've had them take photos put photos on my camera I never
Right.
took. I've had them take multiple ones off my camera. I've had them add pictures after others were removed, and I've also had, and Sue has experienced this too, you'll see a picture and then after the fact they will add something to that picture after it's already taken. They'll put something in the picture.
Well, these particular like set of 3 just appeared, you know what I mean? And they were like purple. Yeah. One's like a purple phase. It's so weird, but the other ones look like just purple and blue energy.
Is Jen back?
I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you see the photo bomber here in smoke?
It's so tiny.
Is it really that tiny?
If you're on a phone, I don't know, you could turn it sideways and like zoom in a little bit with you.
I'm on a laptop. It's still just I don't see very good anymore. Like I've got my glasses on though.
But you other ladies can see them, right? Like this is their humor. Just
it almost looks like a white tree. Like that's how big it is.
Yeah. Here's another one. He's standing right here, cloaked. Can you see that?
I don't see anything.
It's kind of small.
I see kind of like a shadow.
Can you zoom it in?
That's what
I wish I could. I can't. These are a little too small, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's the exact shape of a Sasquatch. You can see his head.
Oh wow!
I can see the shape.
When I zoom in, I see it.
Yeah. That's partially cloaked. Can you see that? Or too small, ladies?
I can see the shadow, the shape of it.
Yeah.
I think that was Fortuna, was it not?
I don't know. This was in another area. This was in Port Moody. We went there one time, Tom. I was getting rocks thrown out on the path and stuff, and had some glyphs left for me. And, this guy was the guy who was watching it. Okay, and here's my all-time favorite. Oh, sorry. This is my all-time favorite. But here's a footprint, and look at what they did with it. They put a little binder up just to say, "Hey, can you see this, dum-dum?" Here it is. Can you see it?
It looks like the infinity sign.
Yeah, but this is a definite track, and they just like, here it is. Have a look. And this is also the day I saw one of the days I saw one walk across the path and materialize out of thin air. So, and here's my favorite. Here's my clan leader, RE. Can you see him here?
Yeah.
There's his nose, there's his eyes, there's his head, shoulder.
Oh yeah. Now I do, yeah.
So if anybody, pretty well anyone can see it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So anybody who says that they don't have these abilities, they don't cloak, they're not interdimensional or whatever, well, how do you explain this kind of stuff, right? They obviously do. Plus the experiences we've had. So anyway.
I also, yeah. I also wonder about how fast that they actually move. If they're moving so quickly that
my wife saw one moving between trees, and it was moving so fast that it had like a
trail,
a trail of visual, or how do you call that?
It's a trail of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Huh,
it's kind of like it's kind of like with that green screen. Like when you move, it kind of like leaves that trail.
Yeah.
No, not yours, Brian's. Yours is better.
I was waiting for a trail. I wanted a trail.
Well, listen, ladies, it's
take a little mushrooms. You'll see all kind of trails.
Oh no.
I'm gonna bow out, guys.
Later.
This was really fun.
What are you talking about? You're the youngest guy here. Why are you bowing out?
Well, I got somebody coming out I got somebody coming at 5 a.m. to we're gonna go in the field to a special news spot. So.
Ooh, no wonder. Have a good night and have fun tomorrow.
That's why won't let me in there without this guy. So he finally is ready. So we're going.
There you go.
Ooh, have fun.
Oh well. Let us know what happens.
I will.
Mike's Mr. Rigatoni's an admin on our show, so
Rigatoni.
he comes on. Oh, Rigatoni.
Fabulous pork and bean show.
Rigatoni on pork and beans.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow! And you're not even Sicilian. You sound better than us.
I know. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know.
What's the matter, you?
What's the
What's
matter, you?
What's the matter, you?
What's
Hey,
the
come on,
matter?
come on, Mr. Rigatoni. Do a little Italian for us. What's the matter, you?
I got nothing right
No,
now.
that's Bullwinkle. We're back in Minnesota
I'm
again
over
now.
here now.
There you go.
Love it. I love
Yay!
it. Oh my gosh, do it all night. I'd love to hear it.
That was good, man. Give us a little bit more. That was like magic music to my ears.
It
I'm
was.
squatching here.
Get out of here. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
There you go.
Perfect. We're all so amazing. I can't believe it. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there anything
Well,
else
thank
you
you.
girls had? Is there anything else you girls wanted to see of Mr. Rigatoni? What else did you girls want to talk about her?
All right. Well,
About
first,
the big picture.
The big
big
picture.
picture.
Oh.
Yeah, what do you think? Are Sasquatch
Bye,
being seen
Rigatoni.
more? Are Sasquatch being
Rigatoni.
seen more? Or what are they doing? What's the big picture? What do you guys got a good handle on that or idea?
I do, but I want to hear the ladies'
I'm not
handle.
gonna ask. I'm not asking you because you already know what you know.
I think
know.
they're watchers. Watchers, guides, just trying to help us get back maybe where we're supposed to be and watching the people to see where they are and to see who's ready to receive the information that they have to share. That's what I think.
I
That's
agree with that
kind of
100%.
that's kind of what the tribe says about them, that they are our big brother and that they do watch out for us and they appear to us to give us information, sometimes to protect us. I just sat with a native elder from White Earth Band here in Minnesota. I sat with him last Friday for like 5 hours and he told me stories. And some of them from his own experiences and from being a young man. He said him and his friends were riding dirt bikes through on these trails through the woods and they were just being reckless like they were as young boys, and just hightailing it through there on their dirt bikes on these trails. And he said all of a sudden he saw this Bigfoot up ahead, and so he slowed down and started coming to a stop, and the others started seeing him too, and they started to slow down and came to a stop. And just before they stopped, if they had just kept going really a little further, they wouldn't have been okay because there was something wrong with the trail. And he said that they all believed that he showed himself to them to make them slow down and to stop so they wouldn't get hurt.
That's beautiful. And I absolutely believe that. Wow.
That happened to me with the deer once. I was driving home. When I was living with my mom in Missouri, and I was working late night at the bars. I get home at like 3:00 in the morning, and the roads are really curvy, and there's no guardrails, and it goes straight down. And I was coming home one night, and I saw this deer come up and stand in the road, and I was like, "What in the world?" And so I slowed down, and it ran on, and I started to go again. I went around the curve, and there's this huge tree that had fallen down across the road, and I never would have seen it if it had not been for that deer. I would have come around that corner and I would have hit it at 55, 60 miles an hour. So
I mean, my thoughts on that is that Sasquatch can shapeshift into any form that they want. It could have very well been a Sasquatch warning you, or it could have just been the universe showing you in its own way. But it definitely sounds like a Sasquatch behavior, or could be. Is that what did you equate it with?
I never gave it any thought like that at all. I just thought that deer kept me from hitting that tree.
What do you
Jenny,
girls think?
Jenny, what did you you're unmute your mic. What do you think of the big picture as the overall overview of what's going on with the Sasquatch?
I agree with what Tammy and Jen were saying about the big brother. I also feel like it's a protector too. We need information on how to protect ourselves. And I think this is one way that we're going to be able to get that information. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to transfer that information through people so we can start living as human beings, living more on the lines of, getting connected more with the frequencies, the energy of the earth, getting to really be part of the world again instead of being all about AI and internet. We
Yeah.
need the earth. We need
So
that
you're
energy.
saying we're in an awakening time. Would you all say that?
I would say at least, yeah, definitely I think a lot of people are starting to become, and I don't like the word woke because I think that's been taken way out of context, but I think
It's
people
not a
are
good
starting.
term anymore.
No, it's not. But I think
Oh
people
boy,
are
is that a
starting
bad
to
term.
realize that energy is affecting us, that we are made up of energy, that these things are possible, and we are seeing more too. We're able to see these things, and it's not just one or two of us anymore. There's many people who can come on these shows and tell you their experiences. And that's what I think the big picture is. Let's
Yeah,
make
I
the
agree.
world a little bit better.
Yeah.
They
Well,
talk
What
about
the what about the star nations? Do y'all have any insights or any experiences with the star nations, with the UFOs and stuff like that?
I have. Obviously, I told you my story about the alien that was in my bed.
Well, yeah,
But
that's pretty profound, actually.
yeah,
And there's a
it's not
good
the
there's a good
only, and it's
chance that
not
you
the
both
first.
it's a good chance that you both got into that bed just before the uh,
That, yeah, that's very possible. I didn't even think about that. It's just
'cause
that 30
most
seconds.
people are taken when they sleep. They don't necessarily remember it when they wake up.
Yeah, and I do think that I've been taken. I don't have memories of being taken, but I do have dreams where I'm walking through the woods and it's dark and it's pitch black and I see a light through the trees and I walk towards the light in the trees and then it stops. I never get there. So I do think there's a possibility that my memory has been erased from it. And I did used to get nosebleeds a lot as a child, like for like 5 years straight. I got nosebleeds all the time.
That's a tell.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of us have actually experienced things that, as far as being taken and don't know it. And some of us do remember these things. I have experiences I don't want to talk about right now, but they are experiences. And it used to happen to me constantly. Every night it seemed like I'd always wake up. And I have one particular memory, but I would always wake up in the morning and I was just young, but not in the morning, pardon me. I would always wake up to my entire body being flat and it falling on the bed, like 2 inches above the bed, but it was flat. My body was flat and I felt the whole, and I would always think that's so weird because my body would bounce on the bed because it was like my flat body, my perfectly flat body for some reason would literally bounce on my bed like this. And then I'd realize that, oh, I'm in my bed, you know. And it happened so often. But yeah, I think a lot of people experience this and they either toss it away to dreams or they're just don't want to accept it. They don't want to be called crazy and they don't want to think themselves as crazy. Because
Well,
that's what people say is that, oh, they've got schizophrenia. It's like,
one,
no.
one of the ways Sasquatch, and I'm sure other entities, beings, or whatever you want to call them, contact you is through your dreams. I've had some dreams where it was definitely them um, connecting with me and giving me an answer. And and I'll give you a real quick one. I was pondering the thought of Sasquatch shape-shifting into human beings, right? Because I've experienced it. As hard as that is to believe, I've actually had, it's undeniable from what I've experienced. And a friend of mine even took it up another notch. I won't go there, but anyway, I'm pondering this. And that night I go to bed and I see a Sasquatch in my dream, and he's walking by me, and he shapeshifts into a human. So
Wow.
they can contact you in your dreams. That's and I guess other entities obviously can too. They're not the only ones that could do it. But I've had definitely had some Sasquatch dreams where they were connecting with me. How about you, ladies? Any Sasquatch dreams?
I
Well,
don't think I've ever dreamt about Bigfoot.
The one thing that stuck out to me was the three mountains, which just happened recently. So, but
That
I
was in a
can't
dream?
remember. Well, it was more of, okay, there's a place that I go that's, and these guys know about it. I call it the in-between place. It's a place between being awake and being asleep. And sometimes I'll like teeter in that area. And when I was sick and I was just calling out for help to help me not be sick, that's when I saw the picture of the three mountains, or the three triangles without the bottoms. And I asked them, was like, because when Jen taught me, when you get information, you always want to ask questions. And I was really sick, but I still was able to say, what does this mean? And it came through as mountains, but I didn't see any significance in three mountains. So it just,
Or where they were.
yeah, or where they were, or why I was seeing them when I was so sick asking for help. I just didn't get it. So
Yeah. So what do you ladies, and you can all answer independently. What do you ladies, what's your objective in this pursuit? Do you want to have a relationship with the Sasquatch? What do you want exactly? What is your end goal or whatever?
I want to time travel with them. I want to go to their different dimensions. I want to see. Show me what you see. Show me. That's what I want.
Tammy's ready to
Okay.
jump in.
I
Tammy's
am.
ready to jump in.
I am.
For me, I just want to know more. I always just want to know more about them, about who they are, what they are, and how they live their life, and in relation to us, and how is that different? If we're like the fish in the water, and they're like the beings on the earth, that we're just unaware of them until they put part of themselves in the water. Kind of like that. You know, see more like what they see, and understand on that other level of what's going on. Um, and I'm open minded to be wrong about anything. I could be wrong about anything, and I'm open to discovering that I was wrong or that I was right. And I think that's why our team works so good together. We completely accept each other's beliefs and ideas for what they are, and respect each other enough for that, and go, let's go find out. Let's see what we can find out. So,
For sure.
How about you,
definitely.
Jenna?
I've already forgotten the question. I'm sorry. I listened to these guys answer the
is your
question, and I love it.
what do you what was your objective out of this pursuit? What would you like to accomplish with the Sasquatch, or your understanding or relationship or whatever? What do you,
I have to say, my objective really hasn't changed. My objective was to establish contact, to create a relationship, and learn from. So that's exactly what I mean. And granted, I would love to time travel and learn everything I could, but when it comes right down to it, boom, 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 ABC, that's exactly what I would like to have.
do you
See,
girls
I'm
feel
an
that?
experienced person,
Go
so
ahead. Go ahead.
don't tell me, show me. I'm a person who learns by seeing it and doing it, and and experiencing it myself. So that's why I'm like, I want to go, I want to see. You can tell somebody anything you want to tell them, but until they know what you're talking about, then it doesn't matter. So I want to see, I want to know.
Yes. Yeah. Experiencers. I think we're all of us up here are experiencers.
When I first got connected up with the Sasquatch people, after a month or so, I realized that they were in my house, and they were in my house every day. And every time I'd watch a video, it'd give me a thrill. And if I made a video, they'd get all excited and move things around. And I had mine speak one time, and then I realized that since they're already in my house, and that they're already in my mind, that I should invite them. I said, well, I invite you to come into my house anytime you want, as long as you don't scare anybody. You're welcome to come into my house. It's fine with me. I like it. And then I thought immediately, and you're welcome to come in my mind and look around, and whatever you want to see, and anything you want to say, you can look inside my mind, anytime you want. And I think this is just a little bit of a like a courtesy, but I don't know how many other people I'm sure Brian has that in his heart because he's like wide open. And same thing with Thom. Thom is actually obviously has done this where he's just has this invitation to come inside my mind, come inside my body, or come inside my house. It's just like there's no fear, there's not it's not really a woo. It's kind of like a soul trust that you put your trust your own soul into that they're not going to hurt you.
And that's the same thing when when we are receiving information psychically, that's what we have to do is we have to put our trust in the information that we're receiving. You can write it down. Like when I didn't trust myself, and I would start writing it down to prove to myself that I was right, even though I knew myself, even though I knew I had predicted something, or but to write it down, to have physical evidence, to show it to somebody, even look at it and say, I did it. You know what I mean? It worked. It's real.
Oh, so you predicted future events and stuff?
Well, yeah, I mean, I sometimes I'll get visions of someone who is passing. I'll get usually it's somebody who's related to me in a bloodline, not always, and I don't even have to know these people. And I will see visuals of like where they are, like if they're in an elevator, the color of their hair, little specifics that I can give to people to say, like I said, I would write these things down, and these are the specific things that I would write down, are the specific things that I'd be shown. And so yeah, and then I'd get a phone call an hour later.
I saw
Well,
COVID. I saw COVID before COVID. I was telling my closest friends and family that we were going to get a bad virus that was like pneumonia. A lot of people were going to die. They should buy masks for their face and lots of medicines for being at home, and non-perishable foods and toilet paper. And some people laughed at me and was like, that can't happen here. And I'm like, it's going to be everywhere, and it will happen here, and it's coming. And I mean, it was the message that it just kept coming to me over and over and over again in dreams and while awake. I would even get the information then. But in my dreams, when I would dream it, and I dreamed it many times, and when I have a dream on repeat like that, then I know it's not a dream. And in my dreams, I was sick and I couldn't breathe, and I was just gasping for air, and I had this peaceful realization that I was going to die. I was going to be one of the people that died. And so I always tell people that when we receive information ahead of time, which I can do that, I do that. It usually doesn't happen on purpose. It's just information comes through to me when it needs to. And I tell people, when we receive information that is scary, that is not a future that we want to have, the only reason why we get that information is to help us navigate that path. So either we avoid it completely, or we avoid the worst case scenario of that path. If we can't avoid the whole thing, we can at least navigate it better. And so for me, the message was, take this seriously, stay home, be careful. And I didn't catch it until last October. I mean, I was pretty lucky with that. And even then, it damaged my heart.
And Jen was telling us too. I mean, I remember when Jen was saying all this, and I was just like, what? And she was like, no, really, you guys. And she was stressing to us, go buy your medicines, go buy these things, because this is coming. So it's not, I mean, this was happening. Sorry, Jen, go on.
No, I mean, that it's good because, well, I was having lunch with my mom and her elderly friend. And my mom knows that when I say something's coming and I'm serious, she knows that I mean it. But she's seen it enough times. But her friend was like, that could never happen here. No. And I'm like, it is coming. Get ready for it. I'm like, you're too old to catch this. You can't, I'm like, you can't get sick, or we won't have you anymore, and I really wanted them to be more careful and take it. Oh,
Oops.
went.
She was in the middle of an awesome statement.
Right?
You can't talk about the C word on
Oh.
Wait,
Okay,
what
it's
did what's C
connecting to
word?
audio.
COVID.
Okay,
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost my connection there for a minute, but yeah, I mean, I was scared to tell a lot of people, and after my native elder died, his uncle came to me at a powwow, and I thought it was weird that he was there because he always told me he didn't like powwows. He didn't like to go to them anymore. And so when all of a sudden he shows up at the powwow, and he was a little short man. He was under 5 feet tall, very small, tiny guy, and I'm a pretty tall girl. And so he looked up at me and he pointed. He says, "You sit down there." And there was a cooler sitting there. He says, "You sit there." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm being scolded right now. And so I'm sitting down and I'm looking up at him, and I'm like, "Oh, here we go." And he goes, "We have a big problem. There's a lot of trouble." And I'm like, "Okay, what happened?" And I didn't know what I did, but I was being given the what for. And he said, "Nobody's having visions anymore. Nobody's having visions anymore. And we don't know what's happening. And if they are having visions, they're not telling anybody about it. And he says, and we need to know what's coming. This is how we've always lived. We've had the seers who could see what was coming, so we would know which path to take. But without anybody having visions and sharing those visions, we don't know, and we just walk right into it."
It's important. It's
And
important to share.
and I was like, "Oh crap," because I used to share with my elder before he died, and this was his uncle. And so apparently he knew I was having visions. It was really the only, like, maybe the third time ever he talked to me. And he came there and he just scolded me that I had about that. He didn't say, "I know you're having visions and you're not saying," but he basically said that, right? And so after that, I felt more confident in sharing the things that I was seeing. And it wasn't that much longer that Jenna and I ended up out at Standing Rock, at the campsite at Standing Rock, and my cousin was in one of the main head teepees up there, in the 7 council teepees, and he was with the elders up there, and he invited me to come because they wanted to do a naming ceremony for him, and he wanted me to be there as family to stand for him when he was being named. And so we went, and it was so cold. It was like the middle of November, and we're in a tent.
okay.
It was
Jen,
so cold.
Jen's
Jenna.
not exaggerating. I'm going to tell you guys right now. In the tent we were in, I chose one side because Jen had chose the other. There was 2 beds, one on each side of the tent. Now, all night, I was like so cold. I was like I was so cold. My face was like red from being cold. My eyes were puffy. I could barely see, and I kept saying, "Jenna, I'm so cold." And she said, "Jenna, you can come and snuggle with me and warm up." And I was like, "No." So I took it. I took the cold. The next morning, I found out the whole bottom of my side of the tent was open. So all this cold air was coming up. I was so mad. I was like, "Why?"
And I
And
kept
she was like,
waking up.
"I'm fine."
I
was
kept
so
waking up
mad.
going, "Jenna, are you okay over there?" And I couldn't even see her. She was all under
No.
covers. And I said, "My cot is a lot bigger than yours. There's room for both of us over here."
Nope. I'm tough. I'll take it.
Anyway, so when we were there and we were laying down to go to bed that night, I was starting to receive information as I laid there. And Jenna started saying something about, "You want to watch Netflix?" And I was like, "Shh, Jenna, just be quiet and listen."
She was quite
And
rude.
I get like that sometimes. But it's not because I want to be rude. Look at Tammy. But it's like, I'm getting information, you're interrupting. So anyway, I started to see all these natives, old, from a long time ago, pouring into the tent, and they were there showing me stuff, and they reminded me of the story that my elder, my Wa'a, had told me about how the people were provoked into reacting. So they would hurt the women in front of the men, and then if they didn't react to them, then they would hurt the children in front of them. And they were waiting for the men to react back so they could say, "Oh, they did this," and then they would kill them. And so this was the story that was given to the Ojibwe peoples up here in Minnesota, and they were told, don't react. You are going to be provoked. Do not react. And their seers had seen this. Do not react, because they will kill the people. Do not. And so when it happened, the men just stood there. The men just stood there and they watched it. They watched the women being hurt, raped. They watched the children being hurt and killed. And they stood there and they said, what do you want from us? Because we'll do whatever you want. What do you want from us? You want us to stop doing this? We'll stop doing this. What do you want? Just stop this. And because they wouldn't react, it was a good outcome. So the spirits were reminding me of that story, and that I was supposed to tell them that story again. And then I started to see the people at this protest, at the protest site, which I actually hadn't seen, because we didn't go to the protest site. We were at the camp. And so I was seeing a vision of the protest site, and I was seeing there was some kind of a weapon, and I didn't know what it was. And if somebody was up tall and they were turning it and it was shooting something, and I just didn't understand what it was. And so I called it the swivel weapon, because it swiveled. And it was shooting at the people, and the people were screaming and running. And I saw that if they reacted badly, that they would come into the camp and people would die. And so that they were not supposed to react badly, because this was going to happen. And I went and told my cousin, and we went and talked to one of the elders that was a seer. But then I found out that they only had a council of what they called dreamers. And so people who would dream, and then they would get together and they would talk about their dreams and what does it mean. And so they were prophetic dreamers, but nobody was seeing visions while they were awake. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have anybody who sees visions when they're awake? I see them when I'm awake, and then there's no question. And I have the dreams too, but the when you have them when you're awake, it is intense. It is very intense. And because I had been scolded by that elder back home, I had the courage to go and say, this is what's coming. You need to make sure that everybody knows, because there were so many people there. You need to make sure that everybody knows that they cannot react badly when this happens. This is coming. And 5 days later, I think I was talking to Tammy online, and I was telling her about this, and she sent me a link to a live feed out there where they were using water cannons, and it was freezing. It was like 20 degrees there. And they were using water cannons and spraying the crowds of people, and they were running. And that was the swivel weapon. I had never seen anything like that before. And that's what I had seen. And there was one thing I saw in the vision that I saw. This girl was running away from it. And something happened to her and she got really hurt. And it was a girl that we actually did meet in the camp. She was with us for a little while, and she wasn't even a native girl. She was white. And they were throwing, what are they, flash bomb shrapnel things they were throwing, and they claimed that they didn't throw ones that could hurt people, but it blew her arm off. It blew a very large part of her arm off for real.
Wow.
And yeah, and so if it wasn't for that elder scolding me and giving me the courage to talk, I mean, I was like, what do they want to hear from me for? I mean, I'm so mixed. Nobody sees me as one of them half the time, right? So I was like feeling out of place, sharing things that I saw. Like, why do they want to hear that from me, right?
Because he knew that you were capable of seeing it.
Yes.
He wasn't.
Yeah. And I was seeing things and not telling people anymore because I had lost my elder and I didn't know who to tell. So.
Well, that, what we're talking about here is very much what Thom was saying about that they have told us that, we have no abilities that you didn't once have. And so you've got a lot of those abilities, like the Sasquatch have all those abilities too and more. But a lot of people have, a mixture of some of those abilities and whatever. And they're being awakened more and more, and as it seems like these days. So
Definitely.
I was going to say, do you feel that the Sasquatch people are working with you ladies? Are they teaching you? Are they guiding you? Because that's what my journey is. It's a teacher-student relationship. I'm wondering what you girls think on that. Do you think they're guiding you to discoveries, or are they teaching you things? Are they opening you up? What are your comments on that?
I don't know. Jenna, you're muted. I don't know. I personally don't know. I'm going with the flow.
Mhm. It's an
Okay.
adventure for us for sure, and it's been an adventure for us. And I think that they know that that's our adventure time. And for us, learning a little bit here and having experience there, that for us is gold. And
Definitely.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I guess I
Yeah.
haven't gone out there and said, "Show me everything," or we haven't done that. Maybe
Well,
we should.
And and to answer the question, I mean, I really think that we're being shown little by little so we aren't smashed in reality. You know how sometimes when you're smashed with reality, you can either stay or run.
Yeah.
I just think we're being shown bit by bit, and eventually we are going to make that contact. We are going to establish a connection, and we are going to be able to learn from them. And then, like you guys are saying, we'll be able to teach others what we're learning.
If you knew
Yeah.
what I knew.
Is that what they say?
That's
Or are we talking about you?
that's Thom talking. I know these ladies, and
Yeah.
I know what's in store for them.
Do
Big
tell
stuff.
Tom.
That's beautiful.
Do tell Tom.
Beautiful.
That's why I'm here tonight.
Mhm.
Aw. Thank you so much for being here. I was such a shock and such a pleasure seeing your beautiful face.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to
Did
be
you see
here
my hat?
tonight.
Did you see my hat?
I do. I was almost waiting to see the socks too.
So the socks are in my drawer. I could dig those out.
Tom,
I sent
What?
that hat to Tom, and I sent him a pair of socks with my face all over the socks. Like my
Did
face is
you?
plastered all over the socks.
They're gorgeous. They're great.
Really?
Oh, it was you. He's my guy. He's my special guy.
I want Jenna socks.
I'll get you a pair of Jenna socks. I'll have them sent.
Tom kinda- Tom-
Only for
Tom-
$49.99. You can have Jenna socks too.
Tom kind of mentioned this before, but to get into a little more detail, when they were first working with me, and I'm sure he hasn't experienced anything related to you three ladies like this, but when they were first working with me, my clan leader came to him because I guess I wasn't behaving exactly like he wanted me to or whatever. Seems like everything's fine now, but he said, "Get him under control," and literally melted the earwax out of Tom's ears.
Well, he got my attention. He, with no doubt, what he wanted. And Brian was just being Brian. He didn't realize that around these people you do have to have a modicum of respect, and especially for the seniors. And RE is very senior. He's
yeah, but he's also got an amazing sense of humor. So
he does.
What do you think he was mad about? What do you think I was doing?
I know exactly what you were doing.
Oh, was that about the piggyback up the hill thing?
No, you were just you were joking and carrying on while he was trying to be serious with you and give you a lesson, and you were making fun of it and making light of it, and he wasn't able to work with you because your mind wasn't where it needed to be. And
yeah.
And so he melted my earwax to get your attention.
But he's quite happy with me now, right?
I find that hilarious as his what do you call it? As his
co-anchor,
presenter, whatever you call it. Yeah. Yeah.
So
but he's getting better. So
I have a question. I have a question for Tammy.
Can I just tell you quickly
Tammy,
before you ask that question? Something?
Yeah.
So this was a lesson that RE taught me. It was a very powerful lesson, okay? I'm walking along in the woods, and all of a sudden he starts mind speaking with me. And he said, "Go to the green tank." Now, I had mind speak and thought and that kind of stuff. I was a little familiar with it, but this is very early on in my journey. And at first I Thinking, what's going on here? Then I realized, okay, he's talking to me. But he said, go to the green tank. He wanted me to go someplace. But I was like footloose and fancy free, and like just like kind of a free spirit, and take things seriously but don't kind of thing. So I thought, I'll just negotiate with him. I said, oh yeah, I'll go there later. I just want to check out this gifting area first. And he said, go to the green tank. I said, yeah, I will. Don't worry about it. I'll just do blah blah blah. Go to the green tank. And then eventually, but I was, I would never do this again. And when he starts talking to me, I'm going to listen. But anyway, I said, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll go there right afterward. So eventually he didn't say anymore, right? And I guess he just thought, okay, dummy's going to do what he's going to do. So I'll just shut up. But he was very insistent. So I told him, don't worry about it. I'll go to the green tank after this. And I thought we had a deal. He didn't say anything more. So I thought, okay, everything's cool, right? So I went up to this gifting area where I had all kinds of amazing experiences, like funny stuff, and just amazing stuff happened there. And I was just checking it out. And so when I got there, this is a place I had been to about 40 or 50 times. Impossible to miss. You can't miss it. There's no way that you can miss this area. I went there, and I literally walked up and down the trail about at least a dozen or more times each way within 100 yards. The whole area was cloaked. The whole area, it was not there. It was cloaked. So basically what he did is he said, okay, do what you want, but good luck finding the place. So he taught me a lesson. Now, do what you want, but you're not going to get what you want, but you're not going to get what you want. And then after that, I went to the green tank, and it was like as quiet as a church mouse. So
nothing happened at the green tank?
No, because I didn't. If I had went there initially, it probably would have.
Oh, okay.
But because I went to the other place first, he cloaked the other place to say you're not going to see it. Then do what you want. You're not going to see it. And then when I did go to the green tank, there was nothing happened.
Did you happen to feel like, oh my gosh, did I imagine that, since there was nothing at the green tank? Because I know it's a natural human thought.
No, you're missing the point. There was nothing at the green tank because he was saying because I went to the other place first. I didn't listen to him. Once I got to the green tank, whatever was waiting for me there was off the table. It was like,
Yeah, it's too late.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, and I understand that part. I was just curious about.
What did you want to ask me, Thom?
Well, first of all, do you see why he cleared my earwax trying to get him under control? All right. You mentioned nosebleeds.
Mhm.
Tell me a little more about that. What did you mean?
Just random nosebleeds. Actually, it happened when I lived here in Virginia Beach when I was young. And that's where I think the woods thing is from too, because I used to play in the woods when I was younger. But yeah, I would just be walking, and I'd go to the store with my dad or whatever, get out of the car, walk across the parking lot, look down, there's blood coming out of my nose. And it was anytime, anywhere, for any reason. It didn't matter, what the weather was or what I was doing or where I was going or anything like that. It just happened.
Do you correlate that to something?
Yeah,
Some
for
activity?
me, it seems like it fits into the whole thing with the, being in the woods and never getting to where I think I'm going, seeing the lights, but never getting to the lights.
Mhm.
And, and then the nosebleeds and what Jenna was saying about falling, 2 inches above the bed. I always felt like I was falling into my bed, and then I'd like hit it and then wake up and I'd be like, what happened? I was sleeping. How did I fall into my bed when I'm in my bed? Things like that.
Yeah.
That happened to me all the time when I was young.
That's classic contact experience.
But why can't I remember? I want to know.
Yeah. Well, you already know.
That comes with time. You will know.
Or you can get
will
a
know, but
hypnotic
you
regression,
have to-
and they'll fill you all in on some of the details.
That's probably true. So, Thom, what do you think is coming for us ladies? Do tell.
I can't tell you. You
No
have to
hints?
learn.
No
What a
little hints?
tease.
You have to
Tom, you
learn.
tease.
It's for you to learn.
Very true.
Okay.
For
Very
me to
true.
know and you to learn how cruel old people are.
Hey, yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say
I've
we're almost
learned-
in
I'm not old. I'm classic.
I've learned-
exactly, depending on a
I-
classic you are.
I've learned not to ask that anymore. I used to be constantly asking those kind of things, even though
They don't let me talk about a lot of things that I learned.
I get that. I get that.
you know?
When I
And,
do readings and things like that, there's certain things I'm not allowed to say. So
yeah.
I do know though I got a strong inkling that there's something very big going to happen for me in September, or maybe for Arla, because RE, my clan leader, I put on a gathering every year. Spiritual kind of gathering, no commercialism, nobody, I don't charge anybody anything, I pay for everything. And you girls are invited if you want to come. But anyway, RE told Arla, he said, he didn't say I want you to be here, he said you are going to be here. There is something for, there's
You've got to
reason you have to be
understand
here.
with Arla and with me at times when they we're so much a part of these people that they can speak to us that way. Okay, they're just telling us where we need to be. You know, it's not like an order from a superior officer. It's just, this is where our station is. You know, you're to be here, and just so that we know to be there. The reason I asked that question, Tammy, is because I went through a bout of some very severe nosebleeds. Somewhat so on my refrigerator, I've got a paper with what to do with nosebleeds.
do you have one of those things that you powder that you can put on it to make it stop bleeding?
No, I don't have any powder, but I got a clamp. I got clamps and all sorts of that stuff. Trouble is, my nose is too big for the clamps. It comes from getting in other people's business and getting it flattened out.
That is funny. That is funny.
But yeah, that's the reason I was wondering that, you know, what the source of that was, because I think you're dead on there. By the way, I used to live in Virginia Beach.
Did you?
When?
Yes, I did.
When?
1960, 61, 62, and 63. Long
Were you
before
on
you
a
guys
base?
were ever born. But yeah,
Were you on a base?
yeah, I was stationed. I went to school there, guided missile school at Dam Neck.
Okay. Yep. Dam Neck's not far from me.
Yep. Yeah. And I lived in town. I was married then. Lived in town and rode the Liberty bus out every day. Got hit by a car crossing the highway right at the turnoff to Dam Neck
That doesn't
one
surprise
night,
me.
middle of the night.
That doesn't surprise me.
were you drinking at the time?
No, not at the time, but I had been the whole night before. I was flying through the air at the time.
You couldn't hold a twist when he was flying through the air.
Right?
Yeah. The landing
Didn't
was a
spill my
bit
beer
rough.
though.
I broke my ankle, and
Oh,
I've been
no.
having trouble with my ankle, and they took an X-ray of it and said, "There's an old break there." I said, "Yeah, I know." Want to see the scars on my butt from the hood of the car?
Oh no. And I bet they were like, no, thank you, sir. Keep your pants
Yeah.
on.
Too late.
I'm not even gonna ask.
How long have the She Squatchers been in existence here? How long have you girls been known as the She Squatchers and doing your thing?
Since the moment I talked to Lauren Coleman was 2015.
Whoa. That's when you guys got together?
Well, that's when I first decided to start it out, and then it was Jenna wasn't. They weren't with me on the first one because I honestly was embarrassed that I was going to look for Bigfoot. I didn't want to tell anybody. So I didn't even tell my closest friends that I was going to look for Bigfoot. And that's why they weren't with me that night.
I
So you-
spent
so you-
we're-
35 years that way.
We're
So
coming
you
down
girls-
to the next, close to 3 hours here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness sakes.
And I
Yeah.
wanted to ask this maybe like one last question. I'm sure Brian will have one last question. But my question is, how do you feel about Ask what Sasquatch can do for you, or ask what you can do for Sasquatch. Which do you choose?
I'd never thought, what can they do for me? It was always,
Yeah.
what can I do for them? It never even entered my mind to ask them for anything.
Well,
What would
Agreed,
you?
100%.
What would you think, Tammy? What would you think you could do for them? What would your assumption or your guess be?
I don't know, keep them, whatever they wanted me to do. If they wanted me to keep them safe, to keep them hidden, to protect them, I would do that. Whatever they asked me to do.
Okay.
Okay. What about the
Can I
rest of you girls?
interject this?
The
Okay,
only
they don't need protection other than from idiots.
Right.
Okay. They're
Yeah, I'll leave that.
quite capable of protecting themselves.
Oh, I'm sure.
What they need protection from are idiots with guns. Okay. And people who think they're free game. But even still, they aren't going to be successful either. There's been a couple of instances where it happened. But what they need, and what they told me, for the first time in the history of man, he has the ability to destroy the world without firing a shot. Now, you hear a lot of stories, a lot of stuff about if we're cutting down the trees and we won't be able to breathe. That's so much poppycock, because what happens if you cut down the trees? The brush grows, the grass grows, the trees grow back. All of these things photosynthesize in exactly the same way as those trees did initially. So there's no loss of oxygen, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, only 20% of our oxygen comes off the land. 80% comes out of the ocean. And that's where the danger is. We're killing off the major predators. Sharks are being killed for nothing more than their fins.
Mm.
Okay. The giant tunas are so depleted that they don't know now if they stop fishing entirely, if they could recover. Yet they have a TV show on glorifying tuna fishing. Okay. If you take the top predators off, what do the little creatures underneath do?
Yeah.
Their population explodes, and they denude their lands. You denude the seas, you lose that photosynthesis of the plant life in the seas. You lose 80% of your oxygen. There lies the danger.
Very, very,
Okay.
very good points.
Yeah.
So ask
Protect
what
them from the,
Sasquatch can do for you, or ask what you can do for Sasquatch.
I'll answer for me. I would think like Tammy. I never would think about asking for myself, except Thom had told me differently. He said, ask them for help when you need. So yes, I consider myself needing to ask for help if the need be. I want to be able to do that. But at the same time, I also want to be able to see what I can do for them to help us. They've got so much power and knowledge that we don't have, and that we've just like thrown out the window. We're so consumed with physical things. We're so consumed with those computers and those phones and those, just having the best of the best of the best of the best. And it's always coming out new. Yeah. So I just want the knowledge. I want to be able to help them help us.
and we're at the beginning stage of the most dangerous part of all, as far as computers are concerned. When you get into AI, we're going to reach a point in AI when it's smarter than we are. And how do you turn it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Elon Musk about
I
talking
get
about
the
that.
I got
Yeah.
the best of the best right here.
Look at you, flip phone man.
That's
Jen?
the best. That's the best I can be. Flip phone man. The flip phone brothers.
They're the same. All right, Jen, your answer?
Oh, I think it's give and take. In any situation, there has to be balance, and that's the main teaching under Native medicine is creating a balance. So, and maintaining a balance. And I think humanity, for one, is out of balance. We're the ones that don't really fit in. We destroy our environment, and without thought or even foresight of what's going to happen. So I think there needs to be the balance there between us and them, and balance within ourselves. And I think when people reach their balanced state within themselves, they're more open to interconnection, being aware of the interconnection with all that is, because everything is interconnected and interdependent upon each other. We're all interrelated as well. So that's a very native teaching, but it's a fundamental truth. And when we become aware of that interconnection and we can depend on that interconnection, and we see where somebody's letting the slack come into the web, we can help perhaps balance that, help create that balance where it's being lost. And I think that if we ask for something, we should also be willing to give something, and there should always be that balance.
Yes.
And I think that they know that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to answer that question too. I think that for me, it's a responsibility, if you're representing them and talking for them and speaking for them, to be completely forthright, always tell the truth, never water anything down, never be scared of what other people are going to say, because they're trusting you, us, me, whoever, to do that, because their words are profound, they're important, they're life changing for people. They're talking about how we can get out of the the lower vibrational activities that we do now that are keeping us in this horrible state. And so it's very important to represent them and their words in a strong, true, honest sense, and that's what I think. So that's what I do for them. That's my take.
All right. Did you
Right,
have any
Pappy?
final question for us?
Do I?
Final question.
I'm trying to think of a good one, because I already thought I said what. Well, okay. Has your life changed since you guys have been in this pursuit of the Sasquatch? How has your life changed? What?
Definitely. I mean,
since
a lot
that?
has changed. First of all, we're a lot more in the public eye than we ever were before. So that's changed. But yeah, I mean, I've always been a person for adventure, and I always am constantly expanding who I am as a person. And this for me is a grand adventure, and I always want to know what is, what's over the next ridge, what's around the next corner, what's hiding over here, what is the things that I don't know that I need to know or that I want to know, not only, with Bigfoot, but also in the ocean. The reason that I became a scuba diver is because I want to see what's down there, because I think there's more in the ocean than there is up here. And I want to see what else is out there. So my life is all just about adventure, and Bigfoot is a huge adventure, and I love the experiences and the people that we have met, amazing people that we have met, and all of the wonderful things that we've been able to do. I love it all. I'm here for
By
it.
the way,
Definitely.
before we move on to the other two ladies, we had a lady on a few weeks back who actually saw a sea monster.
Yeah.
Really?
When she was
Yeah,
scuba
yeah.
I
diving?
don't want to say I don't want to say monster, because that's a sea
It
storm.
was like a
but
sea dragon, actually.
When she was scuba diving?
Yeah.
No, she just saw it from the shore.
Where?
And actually, there's the legend, and it's been known there for a long time. It's on Vancouver Island. It's called Caddiosaurus, or Caddy, they call it.
Dinosaurs, Caddy.
Caddy. Just
Whoa.
look up Caddy.
That's cold water.
Now you want to hear? Yeah. Now you want to hear the real trippy thing about it?
Sure.
She saw it. It had like a big horse head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she saw the rings and whatever. She said it was about 60, 70 feet long or whatever. And she saw it. And then, as she was doing a little exploring in the area, then she saw it written on the walls by the Indians in pictographs or whatever. The same thing with the horse head. And then get this. This is the really cool part. She was talking to some native elders that believed in the legend and had seen it or whatever. And she was telling the lady about it, this native lady. And the native lady said, yeah, you saw it. And then this native lady told her something. And this is about shape shifting and the abilities of these creatures. And I'm sorry I said sea monster. I should have said sea serpent. Because monsters, I don't like to put monster name onto any of these things, especially Sasquatch. But anyway, this lady said that the native saw the serpent coming out of the water one time. It came out of the water and it shape shifted into
Forestry.
not a forestry.
Oh, it was the fishery.
Fishery kind of guy. Fishery and
Like a game warden?
wildlife. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
wildlife and fishery kind of guy. It shapeshifted into this guy, and they all saw it shapeshift into him. And the guy walked into the bar in town. He had seaweed all over him, and he was like in a stupor, like he didn't even know who he was or whatever. So, and they all swore by it. So that's kind of a correlation between that and the Sasquatch, because the Sasquatch can do the same thing. But
I've been stupid coming out of a bar quite often, but never going in.
anyway,
So
I wanted to share that with you because you might see something under the water when you're scuba diving.
I'm
But
always hoping.
but I absolutely believe that story because it resonates with some of the stuff I've experienced. So
There are stories from my tribe about a creature that lives in the water that sometimes they call the fabulous underwater panther, the fabulous underwater black panther, but the drawings of it look like a dragon. And yeah, and it's drawn with horns, but it looks like a dragon, and it's known to be a shapeshifter. And there was a story that I heard once about a man who was murdering people. And this was back in the olden days, and he was murdering people, and people knew that he was doing it. And this woman wanted justice. She wanted them to go and kill this man or take care of it. And they all of a sudden, somebody received a message that the Black Panther is coming for him. And they heard him being killed in the distance. So that it came out, and it turned into the Black Panther and came for him.
well,
By the shores of
That's
Gitchigumi.
so in other words, that's a happy ending, right?
I guess that they're watching, and they take care of those imbalances when they're happening.
Yeah. So did you want to?
What did you say, Tom?
I said by the shores of Gitchigumi.
Yes, sir.
Did you want to pipe in on how you changed since you've been involved in your Sasquatch adventures?
For myself personally, I tell people that Bigfoot saved my life because I had a severe medical thing that happened, and they didn't expect me to live. And I just was the thing that kept me really just with the will, as I wanted to have those adventures. I wanted to go explore that. And I wanted to do that with Jenna and my friends. And that's really what kept me going. I'm at the age where my kids are grown and gone, and, there's not a whole lot there anymore. So that was what kept me going when I really needed something. It was there for me, and
it gets worse with time too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You know that Tom and I have both experienced healings from the Sasquatch, and I've also experienced them doing it to other people when I witnessed it. I had a heart thing. I came out lucky because of them. I didn't even really have a heart attack. But if it hadn't been for them, I might have died even. But they were with me all the way through it, and they healed Tom too with his heart many times. He wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. So just on that note, that they are healers as well. So is there anything else you wanted to say, Jen?
No, I mean, really, my ideas of how it is, and that sometimes there's drama in the Bigfoot community, and I always tell the girls, I don't want to participate in the drama, so we just won't participate in it. So if anybody asks us what we think about somebody, it's up to them to decide what they think. We don't need to participate in that, and so I think we removed ourselves. Yeah,
they'll just drag you down to their level and overwhelm you with experience.
Yeah,
you can't win.
So we just kind of remove ourselves from that participating in that circle, And I think it's a much more pleasant experience. We've had a lot more support, I think, than anything else. You know, I really
Yeah.
feel like the Bigfoot community has welcomed us in many ways. So I feel very blessed in that way. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're just lucky we get to go and do this. I feel lucky, blessed, you know, that we get to go do this together.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Definitely.
Jenna?
How has this changed me? Boy, you know, after my NDE, I thought I was changed. And when I started looking for Bigfoot, it has changed me even more. Before Bigfoot, I was more interested in spirit and just anything else I could find, but I never thought about cryptids. Now my eyes are open for everything. My mind isn't focused on one particular area anymore. I've opened my eyes to everything. I'm not living in the past anymore. I'm not living in the future. I'm living for right now. What you're seeing is me present. You know what I mean? So I think that's changed me a lot in that way, that I'm more present now than I've ever been in my lifetime.
Very good. Well, we
Well,
kept
very
Thom up.
compelling. You guys are fabulous. I mean, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So happy you came on our show.
Yeah. What
And
I think
your energy, people need to be exposed to it. So don't hide your light under the whatever it is under the bed.
On the
You know,
bushel.
speak your truth because your truth is valuable and is worth hearing. I appreciate it. So thank you very much.
yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
for having us
same thing.
on.
I think you should change your name to the Fabulous She Squatchers.
Oh my gosh, I think you're right. You guys,
That's how
let's
we will
change
be
it.
introduced from now on as the
The
fabulous.
fabulous She Squatchers.
Just
Yes.
There
like
you
that.
go.
Fabulous Sea Squatchers. I mean,
Oh my
hey,
Lord.
And the
No.
world's
Now-
handsomest man.
you know,
And the
I actually
world's
expect
handsomest man.
I actually expect you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it might happen.
People
The
will be.
Fabulous Sea Squatchers, no?
No, they
I-
would be like,
that
they
would be
think we're all full of
embarrassing.
ourselves.
Right?
I can't say that. Have you
We,
seen
you know, we
I think
pretend,
fabulous.
right? But we pretend and we play and stuff, but we don't really feel like that. I mean, we're like, oh my gosh, we're so fabulous, you know,
We're
but that's just
fabulous.
play. It's not
Yeah,
real.
But you know, I mean, look at our name, the Pork and Bean Show. You think that's serious? We're just playing around.
Right?
Well, obviously it's a fabulous show because look at tonight.
Hey,
We
wait a
have the
minute.
fabulous She Squatchers.
The
With the
Covered
fabulous,
a lot,
the
we covered a
fabulous,
lot of ground tonight, that's for sure.
the
I gotta
fabulous.
say-
Yeah.
I gotta
The
say,
fa-
there was one moment where Jenna and I were getting on a plane, and we were in Minneapolis, getting on a plane to go wherever we were going. I think Colorado, or I don't know where we were going. We were going to some event, and there was the 3 seats in our row, and I was on the outer side. Jenna was in the middle, and the guys at the window. And he said something to her. Where are you headed off to? And she says, we're going to a Bigfoot conference. We speak there. And the guy in front of me turned around and he looked at us. He's like, oh my God, it's the She Squatchers. I knew
So weird.
Hey,
Isn't that cool to be recognized?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but who would have thought that someone would
Right.
look at us and be like, oh my gosh, I know you.
Yeah.
It's an
One of the
odd
things
thought.
that I
Yeah.
like living about living in Virginia Beach is like not a lot of people here know what I do. So I can be me and I can be me all the time. And every once in a while somebody's like, do I know you? And I'm like, nope, you don't know me.
Nope, I just have one of those faces.
well, what do you girls think of the fabulous Pork and Bean Show?
We think that you are fabulous.
I think
it-
I
does-
like it.
I
You like
forgot
it?
to take my-
I like
forgot
it.
I forgot to take my Beano before the show.
I have that effect on people.
Oh,
Funny.
I did
Jen.
that. My wife was mad at me. You want to hear a funny little story? You know,
Yes.
like I haven't grown up. Obviously, that's why the Sasquatch. One of the reasons they like me, because when you're a kid and you have that high vibrational kind of play, they're attracted to that. But anyway, so I'm talking to my little. Well, she's kind of my step little grandmother. She calls me new Papa. She's 2 years old, right? New Papa. And hi, new Papa. It's so cute when we're talking online and whatever. And so I'm inappropriate or whatever. So as we're talking, I'm going, like, going, and doing these little noises or whatever. And she's laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. And then the next time I got on, the call with her, I'm talking to my wife, and I hear in the background, she did it back. She did it back to me, and then I heard, I didn't get narked on either, thank God, but I heard from my wife, don't do that anymore, because she went up to her mother and did it right in her face, and her mother was not happy.
Oh no!
Her mother was
New
not happy
Papa
about
is
it.
bad.
New
Bad
Papa
new
is
Papa.
bad.
Bad new Papa. Naughty, naughty. Oh, but speaking of being naughty, I'm just kidding. I'm just tired. I have to go to bed. You guys, thank you so much for having us on.
Bye-bye.
And now for
All
part
right.
2. I'm just joking.
No.
Yeah, that was
And remember, next time you go out in the woods, to hit that subscribe button and share. And, man, I think, I don't know why they don't have those things in a subscribe button in the woods. That'd be something great.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
You
that-
girls have your own show, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We have a channel on YouTube.
Well,
She
why
Squatchers
haven't you invited Port Cunningham and or Frank Oliver Beans on?
Well, we need to do that. I'll send you our show schedule.
There you
Yes,
go.
please.
I mean, we got things to say.
Well, let's do
Do we
it.
have an agent? We can have them talk to our agents. Do we have an agent?
Oh my Lord. We don't do agents.
Now, I'm not trying to get more airplay, but actually we're good together, but we're also good separate, because he always interrupts me when I'm saying something really good. So.
Maybe he doesn't think it's all that good.
What's that?
Right.
Breaking
Anyway.
up the band.
Anyway, no, I'm just joking, but we really enjoyed having you on. Thanks so much, ladies. Thanks, Tom, for staying up like past your bedtime. I know
It is.
it
It's
wouldn't.
15
It's
minutes
past my bedtime too.
Yeah, but you're
You wouldn't-
3 hours earlier.
You would have never stayed up this late if it wasn't for these lovely ladies.
I would say there's only 2 things get me to stay up this late. These ladies are Sasquatch.
And gas.
Oh, thank
Mm.
you. And
And
gas. Oh
Yeah,
no,
Sean-
we
He
lost
said,
him.
he said
Yeah.
bye. He's like, bye. 1, 2, 3.
I know,
four.
but I thought he was just being nice.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't just like make him feel like he had to get
No.
Oh, I
off.
think we're all
No.
tired.
Okay, good. Okay,
So-
good night,
So
everybody.
on behalf of Port Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans, thank you very much to all our guests today, and our special guests, Jennifer Grover, Tammy Trickle, and Jen Cruz, the
Very good.
fabulous She Squatchers.
Adios.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
Mwah.
And thanks for coming, Tom. Thanks, Arla, and thanks,
Thank-
Big Pasta, and that was it, right?
I think so.
Thanks to all the food names.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love you
For the
all.
full meal. That was
Yes.
If you guys come on again, we'll give you a food name.
Okay. Ooh, what would mine be?
Let's
Dorito?
think about it later.
Dorito
Oh
Sally.
gosh, yeah. Okay.
Dorito Sally or something like that. Yeah.
Bye.
Anyway,
All right,
bye-bye.
good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.